There's a look at Ken Whisenhunt, last year the offensive coordinator with the San Diego Chargers, as we mentioned. And before that, he was head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And a look at Andy Reid for the Chiefs. 14 years head coach in Philadelphia, second season with the Chiefs. Tennessee won the toss. They have deferred, so Kansas City will be getting the opening kickoff from their former kicker, Ryan Succop. And Knile Davis is back for the Chiefs to retrieve this. Kind of interesting. There are a lot of ex-Chiefs on that Tennessee team.
There really are, Kevin. It's going to be fun to see them play. But the tailgating's done. The fans are in their seats, and we're ready for kickoff.
Negligible wind here in Arrowhead today, and away we go. The Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans. Knile Davis with a good return, and then brought down on the play by Tennessee's Derek Hagan. 32-yard return. And Alex Smith starts for a second consecutive season as the quarterback.
And he was very productive a season ago, 23 touchdowns. And what I like, only 7 interceptions, the fewest in the league a season ago. He's always done a good job taking care of the ball. Doesn't make a lot of poor decisions. The big reason why the Chiefs won 11 games.
Doug Peterson is the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. And they have worked very closely together. First and 10 from the 26. Fasano, the tight end, is in motion. And Jamaal Charles. With a bit of a dance, he picks up 3. Then he's out to about the 29-yard line. Last year's overall #1 pick, Eric Fisher, who was a right tackle, is now on the left side. Jeff Allen starts at the right tackle position. Fulton is a rookie at the right guard. And you can see the big names there in Jamaal Charles, and Donnie Avery has a ton of speed on the outside, taking the place of Dwayne Bowe. Second down and 7. Playing rich in that 2 tight end alignment. Charles again against the grain. And with a good stop there by Petoa Tua. It is a gain of 5, and he's out to the 34. Jarrell Casey is the big name on this 34 defense of Tennessee. It is a brand new defense with new defensive coordinator Horton. And he had 10 sacks a season ago. Also a new contract. Wesley Woodyard comes over from the Denver Broncos. He knows this Kansas City team well. Good safeties in Pollard and Griffin. McCourty is their best cover corner. He's out there right now with others. 3rd down and 1. It's Charles. Room to roll. He's got the first down. Ridden out of bounds on the play by Bernard Pollard. 19-yard pickup, catch and run. 1st and 10, Kansas City.
And it's just what we talked about in the open. Really no secret where it all starts in Kansas City. You better track and find Jamaal Charles, not just in the running game, but the passing game. They do an excellent job getting him out on the perimeter, allowing him to work in space. They are going to move him around a lot today. You'll see him lined up in the backfield. You'll see him on the wing and the slot to do a good job displacing Jamaal Charles.
Now Davis is out there as the running back with 4 wide. Blitz is on. They get it out. Knile Davis. And he keeps on his feet as he takes it out. Brought down by Cam Wembley on a gain of 3, and they're into Tennessee territory. Rich at the 47-yard line.
Kevin, I think they're one of the best screen teams in football. And they have all kinds of screens to the different backs, to tight ends, to wide receivers, the bubble screens. And the reason they're a good screen team is the backs are very patient, and they have offensive linemen that are athletic that can get out and run and cut in front of the screen.
Zach Brown is out. You saw him hobbling out for the Tennessee Titans. 2nd down and 7. In the backfield, Anthony Sherman. And Sherman gets the call. Carl Klug jumping on his back. Klug had a good preseason. That's a gain of 4, and they go inside the 44.
Well, curious to see how this offensive line can play together today. Inconsistent a season ago. They reshuffled the line again this year. Essentially 3 new starters. I think pass protection has been shaky at times through the preseason, even with a mobile quarterback like Alex Smith. But these guys have to play well up front against a very good Tennessee front 7.
Titans have put in the nickel. Charles back in for Kansas City. 3rd down and 3. The opening drive of the game, and the big play so far has been a 19-yard catch and run by Jamal Charles. They got around Allen. There goes Smith. And shoved out of bounds by Wesley Woodyard. Running to, with a loss of 3, back to the 48-yard line. 47.
This is what you have to guard against if you're Tennessee. Alex Smith getting outside the pocket, extending plays with his legs. Does a very good job throwing the ball down the field, whether he's working to his right or to his left.
That's Dexter McCluster, who was a Pro Bowler for the Chiefs a season ago, signing as a free agent with the Tennessee Titans. In the punt, Dustin Colquitt with some Tennessee ties. High school in Knoxville. And played at the University of Tennessee. Here's McCluster's already signaled for the fair catch, and he'll get that looking into that bright Missouri sun at the 10. 37-yard punt. We'll get our first look at Jake Locker when we come back in a scoreless first quarter. Rich, Jake Locker had a good preseason for the Tennessee Titans.
Right, he really did. He looks so comfortable in this offense. He's sitting in there with some poise. He's going through the progressions. He's been much more accurate through the preseason.
And you see the flags.
Oh, foot. Offense, number 71. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Michael Roos, communication's a big deal here in Arrowhead.
Well, communication is huge, and it's so important for this Tennessee team to get off to a good start. You know, the Chiefs had one of the league's highest point differentials a season ago in the first quarter. Their MO, they build a significant lead, they take you out of your game plan, and then they pin their ears back and rush you defensively. You can't afford a bad start here in Arrowhead.
Now 1st and 15, McCluster in the backfield gets the call, and he's wrapped up inside by Dontari Poe. On a gain of 3. Tennessee's got a high-priced front line right there. Michael Orr comes over from Baltimore. Roos has already been called for the penalty. Warmack was the #1 pick out of Alabama. Kendall Wright had 1,000-yard receiving a season ago. The ever-dangerous Delaney Walker is one of the tight ends. No Chris Johnson. He is now a Jet. They run with a committee of 3, including McCluster. 2nd and 13. This is Dexter McCluster. As he gets a nice block ahead by Walker. And he takes the ball with the catch and run. Eric Berry forces him out of play. 17-yard gain up to the 24-yard line. Dontari Poe is a Pro Bowler emerging last season in the middle of that line. DeVito and Bailey are on either side. Strong linebackers, 3 Pro Bowlers, Houston and Johnson and Ali. And Josh Mauga is taking the place of the injured Joe Mays. Eric Berry didn't play in the preseason, had tendonitis in the heel. But he starts today, 1st and 10. Good run right here. Sean Green brought down by Abdullah. It is a gain of 9 and a good run to the 32.
Well, the running game is going to look a lot different without Chris Johnson. I think you'll see more of a running back by committee approach with Green and McCluster, who we just saw out of the backfield, and Bishop Sankey, their 2nd-round pick that they're very high on, who had a very productive preseason.
Chiefs remain in the base. 2nd down and 1. And again they go to Green. Slipped by Derek Johnson. He got up to about the 32. He'll still be shy of the first down. DeVito was in there. James Michael Johnson. It's a loss of 1. We're talking about running back by committee for Tennessee.
Well, Sean Green, he brings the physical presence. He's more of the inside banger. Dexter McCluster gives him the versatility that they're looking for to get on the perimeter and very good in the passing game. And a guy who I think is going to get more of the work as he gets more and more comfortable in this offense is Bishop Sankey, who can do both. He can run inside, and he's got the speed to get on the edge.
Chiefs in the nickel. We got Washington in the backfield. 3rd down and 3. And going on the side, the coverage by Sean Smith. Looking down that sideline, looked like Hunter was in the sights of the quarterback locker, and like the Chiefs before him, Tennessee's got a punt.
You know, punting's not the end of the world against this Kansas City defense. I mean, the important thing, Kevin, is you come out, you limit the mistakes. This team's not good enough to be able to overcome turnovers. You want to make this Kansas City team play, and they've got their own issues right now. They're not great at the cornerback position. If they can get Locker some time, they've got some opportunities, I think, to throw the ball down the field.
Brett Kern will punt for Tennessee. Frank Hammond Jr. is back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll signal for a fair catch and retrieve it at the 22. 46-yard punt. 5 plays punt for Tennessee. Chiefs back out there with Alex Smith on a beautiful day in Mid-America.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. And by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC.
Already a story for the Tennessee Titans. Zach Brown going to the locker room. Their starting linebacker, and he's a good one. We'll try to get an update as quickly as possible. After 5 plays punt by Tennessee, Chiefs in their second possession. With the 1st and 10 at their own 23. Charles in the backfield. Looking for the tight end, Fasano. Incomplete coverage by Cam Wembley. Second down. What about the offensive line, Rich, for the Chiefs?
Well, I think it's important to help them early, Kevin. You got so many changes. Fisher's making his first start at left tackle. Jeff Allen, their left guard, is starting at the right tackle position. He's never done that before. Mike McGlynn, they picked him up off the street a couple weeks ago. He's starting at the left guard spot. You got a rookie at the right guard. The only steady guy in there that's been there is Rodney Hudson. I think it's important. You'll see the screens, the quick game, a little misdirection to the running game, some quarterback movement to help this group get off to a fast start.
Second down, 10. And they try to find some room inside. Not much there. Cyrus Gray, running back out of Texas A&M, 6th-round pick a couple years ago.
It's so important to have continuity with that offensive line. Communication, you mentioned it earlier, Kevin, how important that is between the center and the quarterback and the running game and the passing game with the protections. And so you don't have that continuity and consistency when you're constantly rolling different players through.
3rd down here, Rich, and 9. Charles is back in. Into the nickel. Smith, screenplay. This is Fasano, who gets as far as the 30, and then he's taken down. Bernard Pollard makes the stop. Former Kansas City Chief. It's a gain of 6. 3 and out. Chiefs have got a punt.
Plays that look the same that are different. We saw the quick toss to Charles earlier, and they faked that one, and now they try and have the tight end screen. We talked about they have a ton of screens to the receivers, to their backs, and now we just saw to the tight ends.
Second punt coming up for Colquitt. McCluster will await the punt back at the 20. McCluster starts the game at running back today and is the top punt returner for this team. And he will return from the 20-yard line. Great special teams on the play. Beautiful move, and it was turned in by defensive back Chris Owens. It's a 50-yard punt. It's a loss of 2. The Chiefs special teams right there. Titans to get it back. The premiere of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network kicks off this Thursday when the Pittsburgh Steelers take on Baltimore in an AFC North Divisional showdown. Football starts here. That'll be a good one. 2 great quarterbacks this Thursday on CBS, 1st and 10. Jake Walker. And he's got Nate Washington, who is brought down by Hussein Abdullah. It's a 12-yard pickup and a 1st down.
Well, a good look at the quarterbacks we're going to see on Thursday night. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco. Great battle between 2 quarterbacks that have been very productive and consistent and have won Super Bowls. Ben winning 2 in Pittsburgh, and of course Joe, the former Blue Hen, winning a Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Ravens.
Cluster 1 and 2 in the backfield. 1st down and 10. Dexter gets it. Houston was blocked. And then captured on the side by Ron Parker. Taken up the place vacated by Marcus Cooper. It's a gain of 2 from McCluster.
Well, it's a good chance we see McCluster in the backfield as well. Didn't get utilized in that role as much in Kansas City, but Ken Wisenhunt told us last night he's a very good runner. He's got good vision, and he's not afraid to run up between the tackles, despite the size. He's not a big guy, but he is tough.
And the size did not scare him away.
Not at all.
Green is in. Chiefs in the nickel, 2nd and long 8. And a good run here after the catch by Wright. the wide receiver, coming off a 1,000-yard receiving season last year. 94 catches, pickup of 12, first down.
I think the wide receiver core is pretty talented. Kendall Wright on the verge of becoming a star. I think Justin Hunter showed some flashes last year as a rookie. Of course, you've got the steady Nate Washington, the productive vet. A good group there. Some talent that can go get the ball down the field for Locker.
Two tight ends for Tennessee. Running the first time they had it. First down and 10. Green. 2 1,000-yard seasons for him with the Jets. And he picks up a yard on the play. Halil among a couple to get him down at the 44.
And the Tennessee Titans just have to be patient with this offense. I mean, mix in the run. You see a lot of quick game, the ball coming out quick. And the one thing I like, and I've already seen from Locker, Kevin, is his patience in the pocket, trust in the protections, working through his reads and his progressions.
Second down and 9. Keeping it healthy is a big deal. Stay in the pocket is the emphasis in Rizzo, as we talked about in our open. Locker hit and brought down. Sacked on the play by Allen Bailey. It's the first sack of the season for the Chiefs. Back to the 35. Loss of 10.
Well, we think about the pressure from the edges, but they can also bring it from inside with that defensive line. It starts with Poe, who gets the push, and then you see Bailey. He just blows up Andy Levitri, the left guard. And this is just a one-on-one match. He just walks Levitri right back into the quarterback.
Bailey was a third-round pick out of Miami a couple years ago. Now 3rd and 19. They need the Kansas City 46. Chiefs in the nickel. Locker. Leon Washington. Tackled by Eric Berry. Gain of 2. And a second consecutive punt coming up for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, we got a chance to visit with Eric Berry last night. He's talked about this is a secondary that's worked hard to improve in coverage. He did a lot of big plays the second half of the season and in the preseason. Done a much better job working on that this last 2 weeks in practice, trying to keep things in front of him and then rally to the tackle.
Kern with the second punt. Frankie Hammond Jr. is back, his first NFL game on a practice squad time last year. And down he goes, as you can see, at the 18-yard line and a 45-yard punt with a flag thrown on the play. Back at the 45. Rich, what's it like to play on opening day in terms of jitters and maybe not having the overall rhythm and confidence of the season?
You know, I always worried about was my conditioning. You know, you didn't play a lot in the preseason. You come out, it's hot, it's humid, and so that was one of the concerns. And the other thing that I had a concern about as a player that came into Arrowhead was dealing with this crowd noise. It can overwhelm you early.
Congratulations to the Missouri Lottery. Be sure to get your Chief Scratcher ticket at Arrowhead today. And remember to play it forward.
5-yard penalty from the previous spot and re-kick. 4th down.
So as you heard, they'll punt once again with the penalty on Tennessee. You know, the weather is not as big a condition, although we saw last night talking to a couple of Tennessee players, they're drinking not Gatorade, but Pedialyte to stay hydrated.
They're loading up, and it doesn't just start the night before the game. These guys start on Tuesday and Wednesday trying to hydrate and making sure that they're pounding the Gatorade and the Pedialyte and fluids so that they can come out here and really play. You know, you're talking about maybe playing 10, 15 snaps in a preseason game, where here you could be looking at 70 snaps.
Yes.
So it's very, very curious to see what they do in terms of substitutions early in this game.
With the penalty on Tennessee, they'll punt once again. Kern. Frankie Hammond Jr. remains deep back for the Chiefs. Better punt. Back at the 5. End time of 4-5 for Kern. Just about hit the seam. Brought down on the play by the long snapper for the Tennessee Titans. By Bo Brinkley. 63-yard punt. Timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Punt moments ago by Tennessee. Charles in the backfield with Sherman. First down and 10. And goes up the middle. Wembley is right there. Gain of 2 on the play for Jamal Charles. Week 1 NFL action continues later today on Fox. Then tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. Tune in tomorrow from Monday Night Football doubleheader. The quarterback, Alex Smith, Rich, is not targeted a wide receiver yet.
Well, he doesn't have Dwayne Bowe. That makes things a little bit more difficult for him. And he's the guy that they look to in a critical situation. He's so physical, his ability to use his size and speed. Somebody other than Jamal Charles, though, Kevin, has to step up today for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Second down, long 7. Smith, he's got the first down. Wisely hits the deck. Pollard was waiting. 38-yard line. Scramble of 16.
Well, his ability to make plays with his legs was a big part of the success they had on offense last season. He looks to his right, it's not there. And now he can really hurt you. And he's smart. He knows when to get down and not take those hits. He has been in this offense. He sees the game. He understands the protections. And he knows where his quick answers are.
And as Wesley Woodyard was telling us last night, he's unflappable. First down and 10 from the 39 with Charles in the backfield. Smith, and he's got Avery. That is a first down, 18-yard pickup. He was working on McCourty. He takes it down to the 42-yard line.
Jason McCourty.
Well, nice little in route here, and he puts it right on him. He stops him in the hole. Talked about other players needing to step up. I think one of them is Donnie Avery. He showed flashes last year. He's got great speed, but he hasn't always been consistent catching the football.
A lot of 2 tight end for the Chiefs in this game.
Andy likes to utilize the tight end. This is a position that was disappointing a season ago because of the injuries. They need both of these guys, Fasano and Kelsey, to have big years.
Good block by Fisher. Frankie Hammond Jr. Flag thrown. He gets to the 22. Knocked out of bounds on the play by Bleedy Ray Wilson. Pickup of 22. Now he's going to the wide receivers.
It's about time. And, you look at these receivers.
Before the pass is thrown, illegal contact, defense, number 31. That penalty is declined. He's over the play, the first down.
We talk about these receivers, Kevin. I wouldn't describe this as a position of strength, even with Dwayne Bowe in the lineup. Bowe's numbers were pedestrian a season ago. Avery, as we mentioned, hasn't been able to sustain the production, and they're counting on some young guys. Hemingway and A.J. Jenkins, Frankie Hammond, Albert Wilson. These are kind of some unknown guys that really haven't produced at this level.
Hammond with his first NFL catch and a pickup of 22. From the 22, 1st and 10. Avery. And brought down on the side by Derek Morgan. He picks up 4. He's down to the 20, maybe the 19-yard line.
Gain of 3 yards on the play.
Now they look like they've got some rhythm.
Yeah, they really do. And again, it's getting the ball out quick. They're doing a good job, and Andy always does a good job with this. They sprinkle around. They get touches for everybody early in the game.
A lot of different looks. Opening day in Kansas City. Chiefs on the move. Best looking drive of the game so far. Scoreless at the end of 1. Good red zone a season ago, and that's where the Chiefs are right now at the 18.
And Andy's always been a good play caller, not afraid to take shots in this part of the field.
Which the offense for the Chiefs didn't show a whole lot in preseason. Just goes to show you how much experimentation goes on with these teams and the players they're trying out.
Well, I think you're trying to install different things in terms of your scheme. I think you're trying to evaluate young players and see how they fit in the system. A young player they're really excited about who's inactive today because of an injury, DeAnthony Thomas. He's going to be a good complement to what they already have in Jamal Charles. And, of course, Kevin, a lot of emphasis has been on that reshuffled offensive line.
Yes, where communication you think is huge.
It's going to be critical, again, throughout. Even though they're playing here at home, you've got different players in different positions.
First play, second quarter, 2nd down and 6.
Look how shallow the secondary is for the Titans.
Absolutely. Charles. Wrapped up by Patoa Tua. It is a gain of 3. Rich on this drive. They've hit Avery for 18, Hammond for 22, and Smith himself ran for 16.
And they started getting the ball in the perimeter. They started getting the ball in the hands of the wide receivers. And you start running the ball inside with Jamal Charles. It opens up some opportunities outside. Got to take advantage. They have to go after this Tennessee secondary a little bit with their wide receivers matched up on those corners.
Charles now wide. Top of your screen, 7th play of the drive. 3rd and 3. It's on the Chiefs. 3rd and 8 coming up.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Avery, who played for the Titans back in 2011.
No, you just don't want to see mistakes in this part of the field.
No. Also, huddle deportment is such a big deal, too, for a quarterback, especially like a veteran who exudes it like Smith.
He's just, his confidence, I think his understanding, his ability, having to give tips and reminders to some of the younger players who need help.
That's a good point. 3rd down and 8. Nichols secondary for Tennessee. Smith. Down he goes. Sean Phillips, a familiar name with San Diego and Denver last couple of years. Now a Tennessee Titan. He gained 3. The defense holds him out, Rich. They'll try for 3. The Chiefs will.
And the Titans, this is what they need. Production from their outside linebackers off the edge. You think back to the Tennessee Titans. They haven't had the great pass rushers. You have to go back to guys like Kyle Vanden Bosch and Javon Curse. The last time they had a dominant pass rusher come off the edge. They need some of these young guys, Derek Morgan, Cameron Wimbley, an older veteran, but even Sean Phillips, to have some juice off of that outside edge.
Rookie free agent Cairo Santos. He'll try a 35-yard field goal. It is up and in. He is thought to be the first Brazilian-born player to make an opening day NFL roster. He beat out Suckup in preseason, and he's just put the first 3 on the board for the Chiefs on opening day.
We're watching the NFL on CBS.
Santos, Rich using that upright to carry him one in for 3.
Whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes. I'm sure he's a little nervous. He was the Lou Groza Award winner at Tulane, beating out Suckup with a 35-yard field goal. Santos, now the subsequent kickoff. Leon Washington. He'll bring it out. He's returned 8 kickoffs for touchdown. Fumble. It's still loose. You can see the scrum. Looks like the Titans have got it. Sense the ball. Got the ball. Titans will get it when we come back. The veteran Washington with the initial hit there by Josh Martin, and the cough up, but the retrieval. Fantasy football fans, if you want the best games, there's still time to play and the most awarded sites. Create or join a league now at cbssports.com/football. This is the 3rd possession for the Tennessee Titans. 3rd consecutive start inside their 20. It is 1st and 10 after the 35-yard Santos field goal. Green was in the backfield. Locker batted down. They got right in his way. It was either Holly or DeVito. I think DeVito got a hand on it. 2nd and 10. A fumble on the kickoff, Rich.
Yeah, Leon Washington, one of the better returners in the game, and this ball clearly comes out. Very fortunate that Sensabaugh was in a position to kind of battle for it and come away with it, but you can't turn the ball over in a game like this against Kansas City. They've been so good. Talk about taking advantage of turnovers. Kansas City, one of the better teams this season ago.
Sherman, the one to knock it out. Yeah, Kansas City was plus 18 in the takeaway giveaway ratio last year. This is McCluster, who they send up the middle. There's not a whole lot there, and he picks up 2 on the play. Poe and Johnson were there among the stoppers at the 19-yard line.
Yeah, look at Jake Locker, Kevin. He had a good camp. He seems comfortable in the offense. He's been more accurate through the preseason. And, I think the thing that was impressive last night when we visited with Ken Wisenhunt, he said that, look, I've worked with some good ones. This guy is engaged. He's really done the work necessary. He's taken ownership of it. And they expect some big things out of Locker in year 4.
6 in the secondary, 3rd down and 8 for Locker. Here they come, up the middle. Incomplete. Eric Berry was coming through with Abdullah. Incomplete pass. They were going for Nate Washington. Another punt coming up.
When you look at who brought the pressure, it's both safeties. It's Eric Berry on the one side, and it's Abdullah in the middle. So they literally have the one safety lined up between the center and the guard. And that's Bob Sutton. He is going to do some things that you didn't see or didn't prepare for during the course of the week. Very unorthodox when it comes to their pressures on third down.
Good call by defensive coordinator Bob Sutton. Chiefs do that well, though. They sneak Berry up there in that box, don't they? Rush him a lot. Kern banged his last punt, 63 yards, and Frankie Hammond Jr. retrieves this one at about the 40 after a 41-yard punt. Always scores a 35-yard field goal so far for the Chiefs. Eric Berry, the veteran who didn't play in the preseason, coming up the middle.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by the all-new 2015 Acura TLX. It's that kind of thrill.
3 consecutive punts for Tennessee. Here's the 4th possession for the Chiefs. Leading 3-0. Charles at 1st and 10. And he stayed on his feet, getting a block from Mike McGlynn, the left guard. And he gets 6 out of the play when it looked like it was going to be bottled up. The Big Bang Theory is time traveling to a new night with back-to-back episodes. Don't miss Emmy winner Jim Parsons as the new season begins Monday, September 22nd, only on CBS.
You know, it's time for the Chiefs to do something, Kevin. We talked during the break. They've got good field position. They've had good balance, 8 runs, 8 passes. Not a lot of big plays, not a lot of explosive plays down the field.
2nd down and 4 with a couple tight ends. Now he's going downfield for Kelsey. Griffin brings him down. And Kelsey, Rich talked about to open the show to the 29-yard pickup.
And we talked about someone other than Jamaal Charles, the play action. It gets the squeeze by the linebackers. And now you see Kelsey, who can really run. He is their version of Rob Gronkowski. He's got the size, he's got the speed, and he's got the soft hands that you like at the tight end position.
Kelsey missed most of last season with the knee. He's in his 2nd season out of Cincinnati. He was a 3rd-round pick. And that is Jamaal Charles, and who else? He's the who else. Charles back there right now with the 1st and 10. Fisher with the block on Wembley. Screen pass. Charles loses 2 on the play. Bernard Pollard beat up.
It just took too long to develop. And talking to Bernard Pollard last night, he said, look, we got to know where Jamaal Charles is at all times. And when he gets the ball, we've got to hit him. We've got to hit him hard. It's really that simple. I mean, he is such a big part of Kansas City's offense. He's accounted for more than 1/3 of their total production the last 2 seasons, not only on the ground, but through the air.
Davis now in the backfield, 2nd down and 12. Apologize for the voice today, folks. Battling some, I don't know what I'm battling, cold or allergies. Here's a 2nd and 12 for Smith, batted down at the line of scrimmage. May have been Derek Morgan.
Smith's pass batted down at the line of scrimmage.
That's the 2nd batted pass we've seen. Now 1 for each quarterback.
And I used to always remind the offensive linemen, especially in the quick game, to be more aggressive and to get the hands down. Really nice job there by Tua.
Yeah, Tua, you're right.
Getting that hand up. And they do such a nice job teaching these defensive linemen now that if you're not going to be able to get to the quarterback, try and figure out when he's going to throw it and try and get a hand up and bat it.
3rd and 12. Chiefs need the 18. Here's Smith into the nickel. With the rush up the middle, he was drilled by Casey. That's an incomplete pass. Flag is thrown. They were going for Avery. On 3rd and 12. Well, it's on the Chiefs. This is the referee Torbert's first game as an NFL referee.
And so much has been made about the penalties in the preseason. We really haven't had a lot of the defensive holding or the illegal contact or illegal use of the hands penalties that we saw such a high percentage of in the preseason.
Pass interference by the offense.
Oh, there you go. There's one.
That penalty is declined. Result of the play is fourth down.
So by declining it, they do give him a chance for a field goal, as opposed to taking the penalty and marching him back.
Yeah, really. They bring pressure up the middle. Alex holds it as long as he possibly can. And they get, I think they get Fasano out in front.
Santos, who beat out Ryan Suckup, and he was less expensive. 48-yard try. He's already hit one from 35, but hit the upright to carry him in. From 48, the rookie free agent hits the upright again. This time it ricochets the other way.
Well, you know what's amazing? They've extended the uprights an additional 5 feet above the crossbar, so they've gone up, but they haven't gone out. He needs them to go 5 feet wider. He's hit the crossbar. He's hit the uprights on both kicks.
Missed opportunity for 3. Well, the Chiefs kept the inexpensive rookie kicker over a well-paid vet like Suckup, who was making 1.9. Santos has hit the upright twice, one which went in on a ricochet, the other one deflects out. No good.
Always looking for someone that's cheaper. Not always better.
1st and 10. And he's got his receiver, Kendall Wright, #1 pick out of Baylor. He was Robert Griffin's top choice. Santos today after the gain of 3 right there.
Yeah, the first one we thought was clearly good. It hits the upright. And then, of course, the second one from a little bit further out. Good snap, good hold. And he just misses it. And the pressure. You know, the pressure in the preseason, a lot different than what you experienced during the regular season. These games matter, and it doesn't get any easier for the young kicker.
Chiefs in the nickel, 2nd down and 5. Walker, wide open receiver, the veteran Nate Washington. Knocked out of bounds across the way by Parker. 16-yard pickup and a 1st down.
I really like what I see from Locker, Kevin. He looks really poised. Communication has been outstanding with regards to their protection scheme and the crowd noise. Now we see him doing some no huddle. This crowd has gotten quiet here in Arrowhead.
He's 6 of 9 already, Rich.
And it's important to get him off to a good start.
Do you like how he's staying more in the pocket?
I do, and I think it's going to be important. And that's where he's got to be able to trust the protection. He's got a plenty good enough arm to make all the throws.
Green on 1st and 10. Sean Green down to about the 39 and picks up 4. Well, he had that successful stint with the University of Washington, and 4 years ago they drafted a #8 overall.
And Kevin, what happens is you come in as a young quarterback and you go to what you know best, and when it's not there and things happen so fast, you pull it down and run. Now I think the game is slowing down. He's becoming more comfortable. He's taking ownership in this thing. You see him changing the protections. And now he's able to sit in there and make the good accurate throws and get through his progressions. Find that 2nd and 3rd receiver.
It's 2nd down and 6. Now they scramble. Houston. Justin Houston. He had 11 sacks a season ago. Comes up with a sack right there, the 2nd by the Chiefs.
Well, what you can't do against this Kansas City defense is take the extra hits and hold the ball versus these pass rushers. Houston and Holly, that's where the turnovers and sacks show up. The ball has to come out on time. Now, as I always say, when in doubt, throw it away.
Chiefs with 6 in the secondary. 3rd down and 8. Washington, flag. Outside he goes before he is belted out of bounds.
Locker's pass complete to Leon Washington.
Derek Johnson made the hit, but that flag was thrown very close to a 1st down, as he stands now before the penalty at the 33 of the Chiefs.
This is going to be illegal hands to the face.
Sure is.
Illegal use of hands to the face by the defense. Number 97. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
That's on Alan Bailey.
And this has been a point of emphasis. You know, they talk about if it's forcible, where you see the head and neck move, it's a foul. It was being used as a technique by the offensive lineman and by the defensive lineman to slow down the opponent. And so you look at the preseason penalties. How about illegal use of the hands? We saw 38 in the preseason back in 2013, 212 in the preseason this year. Those are points of emphasis. The illegal contact, the defensive holding. Of course, the illegal use of the hands up significantly over a preseason a season ago.
Chiefs have 5 in the secondary. 1st and 10. Locker, Hunter, and incomplete. Incomplete. Almost looked like a swipe by Ron Parker, who starts today for the injured Marcus Cooper.
Well, he got the matchup he wanted. He had the one-on-one. He's got to throw this one out in front a little bit more. He forces Justin Hunter to have to come back for it, and Parker's there to make the play. He gets the one-on-one matchup. Now just throw it down the field more. See how Hunter has to stop and come back for it? Better throw there, probably gets it done.
And Locker's got a pretty good arm.
He's got plenty of arm. Just underthrew that one to Hunter.
7th play of the drive. 2nd down and 10. Play action to Green. Delanie Walker with the catch. 12-yard pickup. He's all the way to the 16. First trip to New York. Let's check in with James Brown.
New England fans love to hear this. Brady to Gronkowski.
Well, you know, Tony Gonzalez went out on a limb and said Gronkowski was going to have a big game. Guess what? First touchdown pass of the year for Brady to Gronkowski. Right there you can see the New England Patriots take a 17-7 lead as they are running their up-tempo offense.
I'm sure Kevin and Rich would think that was going out on the limb as well. Kevin and Rich.
Exactly. You can see the success, thank you, James, that the Patriots have had. They like to use the tight end in New England. These are two teams that like the tight end. Here's Green on 1st and 10. Going the other way, Derek Johnson will bring him down. Ali jumps on him 2, gain of 5 to the 11.
And not many defensive players are going to bring Sean Green down on initial contact. He's very good. He's a determined runner. And he just needs his touches. He can wear down a defense over the course of a game.
Good looking drive here, Rich. Passes 16 to Washington. 12-yard pass to the tight end Walker moments ago.
And the offensive line has done a very nice job with Tamba Hali and Justin Houston.
Here's the 9th play of the drive. Walker. Hunter. Got it near the 1. Brought down by Ron Parker. And they've got high hopes for Hunter, a 2nd-round pick out of Tennessee a season ago.
Well, he took a hit at the end of that.
He sure did.
Little back shoulder throw here. This is by design. Jake Locker is going to stop and stop him in the hole there, if you will. And I think right there at the end, Eric Berry comes in and hits him. It's like it may have been right in the head as he was lowering, trying to protect himself, getting down on the boundary.
Hunter picks up 11. 1st and goal. Green in the backfield. Walker gets the high snap, and there's a flag thrown. The center is Schwenke, and Walker did a good job just to retrieve
Before
it.
the ball was snapped, delay of game by the offense. That penalty is 5 yards. It's still 1st down.
How does that happen? And one of the things, Kevin, as you look at the play clock, it's way up high here in this end zone. So as a quarterback, the first thing I always did when I got into a stadium is always look to see where it was, but it always bothered me when it was way up high. I wanted it down low where I could see. Locker didn't check it. They wound up taking a delay of game.
I'm surprised, Rich, it's not more uniform in the league where it's the same place in every stadium.
Well, if I was the starting quarterback here in Kansas City, I have it moved down. I want it down here on the field where I can see it.
2nd pre-snap penalty for the Tennessee Titans. 1st and goal at the 7. Green trying to shove his way inside. Derek Johnson, who led the team in tackles a year ago with the Kansas City stop.
Well, he is terrific. He's a terrific tackler. He's also an excellent pass rusher. We think about Houston and Hali off the edge. This guy can pressure up inside. He can be very disruptive. As you said, Kevin, he seems to lead the team in tackles every season.
I can only imagine what goes through a quarterback's mind in the red zone like this.
Well, you got to make quick decisions. The ball has to come out. Less field to defend if you're Kansas City. Have to get the ball up and down quicker.
McCluster in, second and goal at the 5. Walker, touchdown. What a great catch. Delaney Walker, 5-yard touchdown reception. And it had to be thrown that high to get out of the reach of the defensive back, Smith.
Really good throw here by Locker and a great catch by Delaney Walker. They've got a couple of good tight ends. Walker coming off a 60-catch season. As you're right, Kevin, he had to throw it over the dropping linebacker. A flatter trajectory there probably doesn't get it done.
Good-looking drive by Locker with pass completions of 16 to Washington, 12 to Walker, 11 to Hunter. 5-yard strike to the tight end, Delaney Walker, who has had some drops in the preseason, holding on there for a quick 6.
Yeah, and this is how you want to start if you're the Titans. I mean, talked about getting off to a quick start, handling the outside pressure, and taking some shots, which the Tennessee Titans have done here in the first half.
Suckup with the extra point. Rob Baronis was let go in March. Got a couple of inexperienced kickers in camp. Let them go, and Suckup was signed, and it's 7-3 Tennessee. Impressive drive by the 4th-year quarterback.
Really nice job, and again, he's been accurate. He's done a good job spreading the ball around, and he's not holding it, which is critical against this Kansas City defense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Microsoft. Introducing Cortana, your new personal assistant.
For Kansas City, Niall.
I would say Coach Wisenhunt will show Locker that drive a couple times.
Absolutely. I think one of the reasons that Wiz was brought in was his ability to work with the quarterbacks, and they need to get Locker going and playing the kind of football that warranted that first-round pick. And Kevin, the thing that he has done a better job of is just trusting the protection, sitting in there with some poise, a tough jaw, and making good, accurate throws down the field.
Well said. Suckup knocks it out of the end zone. The Jim Nantz will host a Star Pack special celebrating NFL football and classic moments in prime time. Under the Lights, coming up Wednesday, right here on CBS. Now we switch to Kansas City. They've moved the ball, but they've only got 3 points.
I think they've got to be a little bit surprised, maybe even shocked at how this game has started. They've had so much success here at Arrowhead. The crowd has quieted down, and now they find themselves down 7-3 with 3:31 to go in the first half. They need a big drive here. They need to gain some confidence before they go into halftime.
Alex Smith is 8 of 11 so far. Sends Charles as a receiver. Kelsey, great knockaway. Derek Morgan. He was a high pick a couple years ago, comes up with a terrific deflection. Coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report with JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowler for the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a special preview of the debut of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's the Verizon Halftime Report. 2nd down and 10.
And that was good to see by Derek Morgan. I mean, his ability to play the outside linebacker position is not just rushing the passer. We just saw a moment ago his ability to drop in coverage and make a really nice play recovering here on Kelsey. That's the athleticism that you want to see at the outside linebacker position. He has done a nice job so far with that transition.
You were saying watching tape this week, this guy has got to start performing being a former #1 pick.
He does. He has underperformed at the defensive end position. Now he makes the transition. Now the thing he's learning is communication. He's got to talk a little bit. He's got to find out where he fits in this defense.
2nd down and 10. Kyle Davis picks up 3, brought down by Sammy Hill, the former Detroit Lion, up about the 23-yard line.
Well, they've got a very good defensive coordinator, the Titans, in Ray Horton. And the interesting thing, Kevin, he's been through this a number of times the last couple of years. A couple of years ago in Arizona in 2011, he started and made the transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Did it last year with the Cleveland Browns, and now he's doing it again. And so from his perspective, it's comforting to know that the process and the timetable, but it does take a while to accumulate the personnel.
6 in the secondary, 3rd and 7. Charles is the receiver. Bottom of his screen. That's who Smith was looking for. Good blocking. Here they come. And there he goes. Wesley Woodyard. There's a flag. Maybe Sean Phillips. Well, there are multiple flags on the play.
It's going to take a while to sort this one out, won't it?
Switching to a 3-4 for Tennessee in itself is difficult with the communication issues and the new coordinator.
Well, no question about it. As we talked about, just finding the personnel to fit the scheme. And they did not look sharp through the preseason. They allowed an opening drive touchdown in each of the first 4 preseason games. It takes a while to get comfortable not only with the scheme, but with the guy lined up next to you.
Right.
And and again, I think we'll see as the season goes along. By the time they get to the halfway point, this is a defense that should play a lot faster and really ride to the
play,
ball.
both by the defense. Holding. Number 58. That penalty is declined. Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Number 58. That penalty is accepted 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Sean Phillips.
It's a double whammy, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Correction, the defensive hold was by number 91, not 58.
There's not a double whammy.
91. So Morgan held, but the personal foul goes on Phillips, who is very familiar with the Chiefs, having played in San Diego and then last year in Denver.
And he can really help them.
Kansas City 40-yard
He's a
line.
talented rusher. And Alex Smith, though, he can run around. He can wear you out as a defense. He's very elusive, and he's so good outside the pocket.
Well, you see 2.5 to play in the half. And the Chiefs have all 3 of their timeouts, as does Tennessee. Six defensive backs for the Tennessee Titans. 1st and 10. Smith again has to get to the 50. And from behind Woodyard, brings him down. Gain of 5.
By Wesley Woodyard.
Some pretty good coverage out there because Smith can't find anybody.
That's 2 plays in a row now. Of course, we had the holding penalty, but yeah, they're doing a nice job on the back end. These corners, McCourty and Sensabaugh and Bleedy Ray Wilson, tying up these receivers.
Alteron Werner is now gone with Tampa, so they've had to put Ray Wilson in there because safeties are so good for Ken Whisenhunt. 2-minute warning. Now coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, which we'll get to in just a second here. It's coming up next on CBS. They'll preview Thursday Night Football on the NFL Network and on CBS Sports. 2nd down and 5. Brian Harris is the new right tackle. And he throws it away. And Harris, who has years with Denver and Houston, is in because Jeff Allen is out with what looks to be a right elbow issue. He just left, and Harris is now taking the right tackle, which further complicates the offensive line.
Well, there's been so many different players playing up front, and that's a problem. And the other problem right now, Kevin, through the first half of football, no one's winning on the outside. They're not doing a good job winning the one-on-one battles. We're seeing a lot more man-to-man coverage from this Tennessee secondary.
Smith has missed his last 4. Charles in the backfield. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 5. Blitz. Down he goes. That was a big-time hit by Cody Sensabaugh. He's the nickel, and he came shooting through, untouched. 2nd sack on Smith.
Yeah, it comes right off the corner here, and they don't do a good enough job clearing and picking it up. He comes inside the left guard. They should have kicked that out. And you see McGlynn. And that's part of the problem. When you add players so late in the process, he's been here less than 2 weeks, and you have a communication issue that results in a sack.
The only guy that's in the same place as a season ago for the Chiefs is the center, and that's Rodney Hudson. Only offensive lineman in the same position as a year ago. So Allen is normally a guard, is playing the right tackle, taking the place of Stevenson. Bo's been out. As we go and revisit some of the early storylines, no Bo. I think that's probably fiddled a little bit with how this offense has been able to move.
Well, it affects Alex Smith in a big way, Kevin. I mean, your confidence just to be able to throw the ball up to a bigger receiver like that has been very productive for you. Certainly last season and here in Kansas City for a number of years.
Dustin Colquitt will punt. McCluster is back inside the 15. Slight breeze. Poor punt. And out of bounds. Flag at the 39. 30-yard punt as it stands, but I'm sure no one knows Colquitt's punting better than McCluster, and no one knows McCluster better than Colquitt in terms of what damage McCluster can do.
Yeah, you want to kick away from McCluster if you can.
During their kick, holding, number 84 of the receiving team. A 10-yard penalty is assessed From the end of the kick, Kansas City's ball. First down.
84 is Taylor Thompson for the Titans. Rich, 3 timeouts for the Chiefs, 2 for Tennessee. And the Titans are going to get it here first and 10.
And Tennessee has to feel really good about what they've done in the first half, really on both sides of the ball. They hold the Chiefs to a field goal. The offense has looked sharp. They haven't made the big mistake. And on the flip side of it, Kevin, Kansas City has looked flat. They haven't been as dominant defensively, creating turnovers and short fields for the offense. And Alex Smith, he needs some help. And it's been all about Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles got off to a good start. They've not gotten him the ball here through the second quarter. And they miss Dwayne Bowe. There's no question they miss his impact on this offense.
Chiefs have 5 in the secondary. Washington in the backfield, first and 10 for Lockett. Fresh off a touchdown pass out of the reach of his receiver, Kendall Wright. Second down and 10.
And it's so important. You're not going to make every throw, but if it comes out on time against this defense, you don't want to have those tackles having to block Houston and Holly all day. And so the thing that he is doing is he's not holding it. He's not taking that second and third hitch. And that's where the problems show up. With this crowd noise, with those tackles getting off to a late start, the ball has to come out on time. Locker's done a really nice job of that in the first half.
Second down and 10. Holly can't get him. Being chased out of bounds by James Michael Johnson. It is a gain of a yard for Locker. He gave it plenty of time to look that time, so he made the right decision there.
He did, and he didn't take the sack. And when he gets outside the pocket, there has to be more of a sense of urgency from the wide receivers to come back to the quarterback. Watch, somebody's got to start working back in the direction of the quarterback, and you just don't see it off the scramble.
Six defensive backs. 39. Washington is on the flare. Up the middle they go for the receiver, Justin Hunter. And brought down by Smith. Makes it to the 35. Picks up a first down on 39, 15-yard pickup.
And that's a great example of it right there, Kevin. In the past, he probably would have ran. And this time he does a good job keeping his eyes open and up the field, looking for those receivers.
First and 10, Tennessee with 2 timeouts. Outside, dropped by Washington. Coverage by Ron Parker. Well, he's getting the ball out quick. I mean, you can see that. That one was right on the screws.
That's a very good throw, and there's some pretty good coverage there. Washington, usually the short-handed Washington, makes that play. Ken Whisenhunt's in a roll. You talk about in the rhythm. How about Ken Whisenhunt?
Yes.
He's always been a good play call. We talked about it in the open, Kevin, seeing the game through the eyes of the quarterback. He knows what Locker does well. He knows areas where he struggles, and he's really dialed up a game plan that Locker feels good about, and you can see it here in the first half.
Second down and 10.
Oops.
What a barrage. Tamba Hali coming through with a sack. Third Chiefs sack, loss of 9.
Vance Walker.
And a timeout. Vance Walker had just checked in too. He got a hand on it. And a timeout. So we had a Chiefs timeout. The player down is Derek Johnson. They hoist him back up. That's Dr. Chris Barnhouse, who's with the Chiefs athletic training staff.
He just goes down on his own, it looks like.
Yeah. As you see the sack by Walker and by Tamba Hali.
Yeah, Johnson's actually back in coverage. You hope it's nothing serious, but he is such an impactful player for them.
Huge.
In the middle of that defense. He makes all the calls. He wears that microphone. He's got that earpiece in his helmet, so they...
Looks like he just fell on his own.
Man, you
You know what? I don't want to say it.
I
but
know. We don't speculate, but man, that does not look good.
it doesn't. When you fall on your own like that, it's Watch this once again. Almost looked like he was going to run into the official.
Yeah, he's going to drop out in coverage. And then he just...
Oof.
Yeah, he just plants.
Right there on that right ankle, right foot.
It just rolls over.
Collapse.
I hope it's nothing more than a sprain.
Well, in fact, he's not going to try walking off the field. So each team has lost a starting linebacker. Zach Brown hurt his shoulder earlier on for Tennessee in the very first offensive Kansas City series.
But the Chiefs are already without Joe Mays inside.
Yes.
You've got Malga in there, and now you're without Derek Johnson, and be thin in the middle of that defense.
The backup is James Michael Johnson, who plays the nickel situations and other ones. D. Ford has come in, the rookie out of Auburn. 3rd and 20 for Tennessee. They need the 45. Draw play, Leon Washington, and he gets a big chunk right there. He picks up 16 on 3rd and 20. Timeout, Chiefs. Chiefs have burned a second timeout. Clock at 41 seconds. Achilles. So another punt coming up for the Tennessee Titans, who have this one 7-3 with just seconds before halftime.
It was interesting where they ran the ball right up the middle. They take Derek Johnson off the field, and fit in the middle of that defense, and see what they do in the second half. If they try and run the ball more inside now without Derek Johnson.
Frankie Hammond Jr. is the primary punt returner with DeAnthony Thomas injured. He's back inside the 15. Brett Kern to punt again. Sends up a rocket. And he's out of bounds at the 2. Which is where the ball would have gone out.
It was going to go out anyway.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Fans in that section over there booing.
56-yard punt. So it's going to go out of bounds. Somewhere inside the 5. Chiefs have a timeout with which to work. Clock at 38 seconds. So as a quarterback, what's going through your mind? What's going through the mind of Andy Reid?
Well, I want to get out of here and go into halftime and talk about it. I don't think you're going to get anything done here with 38 seconds backed up like this. I think you run the ball a couple times, Kevin, and you go in the locker room and you make some adjustments. And that's the thing that Andy Reid has always done a nice job of, is making adjustments at the half. Have to find a way to get Jamal Charles heated up and going in the second half.
1st and 10. Oh, they're looking for Avery. That's intercepted.
That's why you don't do that.
That's picked up by Jason McCourty, who is the best quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Now, 28 seconds remaining. Tennessee with 2 timeouts in a good position.
Well, Kevin, what did I say? Run the ball a couple times in this situation and go into the locker room at halftime and make adjustments. Now you throw up a Hail Mary. McCourty picks it off. And now you give the Tennessee Titans the ball at the 42-yard line with a couple timeouts.
1st and 10 Titans at the Kansas City 42-yard.
That'll be second guessed.
You just don't do that.
Very quiet.
Tennessee should come away with some points here. I mean, just a completion or 2 and you'll already be in field goal range.
1st and 10 for Jake Locker. Right on the money. Caught by Wright, trying to spin out of bounds. He doesn't get there. He picks up 14 on the play.
Now Locker is taking advantage of a Chiefs secondary. Without Marquise Cooper, Ron Parker, Sean Smith. You know, it's never a good thing when 2 of your top 3 corners were claimed off of waivers a year ago. They're thin at that position, and the Titans know it.
Chiefs have 6 in the secondary. It's 1st and 10. Titans with 2 timeouts. Here comes Houston. There goes Walker. Runs hard, getting out of bounds. That's one thing these coaches tell these quarterbacks: run hard to the sideline.
You know, I got a kick out of Locker last night when we were talking to him about protecting himself, and he said, you know, the defensive players that are coming to tackle me now are a lot different than when I was in the Pac-10. I said, these guys are trained assassins on that side of the ball. And that's the thing that I think, Kevin, as you get older, you start to realize that you've got to protect yourself. You've got to get down. You've got to throw it away. You cannot take the unnecessary hits in last 16 games.
And don't let up when you go to the sideline.
And that you get quick. You don't, as you said, you don't slow up on the boundary and let someone get up on your legs.
Second down, 7. Or the block. Walker's got time. And again decides to run. He gets a block from Justin Hunter. And that opens up room. He gets the first down. Picks up 8. He stops the clock, Rich, at 7 seconds. So he's at a pass completion of 14. And a run of 8 yards here as Ken Whisenant surveys from the sideline.
And I don't want to discourage Jake Locker because, Kevin, he is very good with his legs. But I think what we're seeing is a much more mature Jake Locker who understands what he has to do in this offense. He has to be more efficient as a pocket passer, and we've seen that through the first half.
I think he made good decisions, though, right
Absolutely. When it's time to run, you be decisive, but be smart with it and don't take the hits on the boundary.
So
He's done a much better job of that in the first half.
So Tennessee got the interception with the Chiefs beginning at their own 2. McCourty picked off Alex Smith, which is going to set up a field goal attempt as Tennessee has taken a timeout. Ryan Suckup will get a chance at it just before halftime. Ryan Suckup, as a Chiefs kicker a year ago, had 4 field goals in a Kansas City win in Nashville against the Titans. Now here he is, a 36-yard try. Right down the middle, 10-3, Tennessee. Suckup from 36. And Smith threw the pick to McCourty, which set up that Tennessee possession.
Well, it's different when you're throwing to Dwayne Bowe, who grew up and made these plays, as opposed to Donnie Avery. Turned the ball over, and the end result is a field goal by the Titans. And they go into the locker room, Kevin, with some confidence, some swagger. Come out here and really handled the crowd noise in the Chiefs here in the first half.
Sometimes, Rich, it is difficult to shed a poor preseason and automatically flip on the switch when you go to the regular year.
Yeah, I think the expectations are a lot different. We talked about it in the open. The Chiefs are no longer the underdogs. They won 11 games last year. And, you know, you look at what they didn't do in the preseason. They weren't sharp on offense. They weren't good enough defensively. They gave up a lot of big plays in the passing game. And you just don't flick a switch and come out here in the regular season and play like you did a year ago. This is a team that faded at the finish a season ago. They played so well the first 9 games on defense and then wore out of gas at the end. Offensively, they played better the last 6 games of the season, but they didn't look sharp in the preseason. And now it's showing here today.
Suckup. And the running back will jump on the ball as it was just, as you saw, Cyrus Gray fluttering and bouncing on the turf. Chiefs were outscored in the preseason 131-69. You're right, Rich. The challenge of separating a poor preseason from the regular season.
I'd love to be in that locker room with Andy Reid here the next 15 minutes to hear what he has to say to this football team.
It's the end of the first half. Locker with the touchdown pass. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. Watching the NFL on CBS. Here we are at Arrowhead. It's 10-3 with the Tennessee Titans on top and a touchdown pass of 5 yards to Delanie Walker. Now let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam with a terrific reception and a bird's eye view right there with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan here in Arrowhead. Beautiful day for football, the opening game of the 2014 season. We were talking during the break about no Jamaal Charles.
Just 21 yards rushing in the first half, Kevin. It's a real problem for Kansas City. And the other issue they've had is third down. Just 1 of 7 on third down conversions. So got to do a better job on first down, and they've got to do a better job getting Jamaal Charles his touches, whether it's in the running game or in the passing game.
What about the defense of Tennessee?
Well, they've done a really nice job. They've come in here. They've done a good job with their communication. They've rallied to Jamaal Charles. They've not given up the big play to him. They're getting 11 hats to the ball, and they've done a nice job getting some pressure on Alex Smith.
Leon Washington is deep back, getting the Santos kick, and to a knee, and to the 20. And through 30 minutes of football, here are some of the numbers.
Well, look at the rushing yards, pretty similar, but you know, the turnovers, the one by Kansas City, time of possession. But the big thing, Kev, as we talked about, Jamal Charles, just 21 yards rushing on 5 carries. He has just 2 catches. They missed Dwayne Bowe, and they've got a lot of guys rolling through up front, the offensive line. And the defense of the Chiefs hasn't been as dominant as we anticipated coming into this one.
A cluster in the backfield at 1st and 10. And he's got Hunter with a great move, and to the 41. He beats Chris Owens, and it's a 39-yard pickup and a great way for Tennessee to start the second half.
Well, you love taller receivers, and Justin Hunter is 6'4", and he can go up and get the ball over a smaller corner like Chris Owens. And the thing that I like about the Titans, they're not being conservative. They are pushing the ball down the field and taking their shots on the early downs.
Hunter had 18 catches a season ago. Here is a handoff to McCluster, who is banged on the play by Berry. And James Michael Johnson taking the place of the injured Derek Johnson. Gain of 7 right there for McCluster.
Gain of 7 yards on the play.
Well, you look at that, they scored 6 times on the first possessions of the second half. You've got a new play caller, obviously, in Ken Wisenhunt, but he's on a roll right now. He's doing a good job mixing up personnel groupings and formations and giving the quarterback a chance to be successful. 2nd
down and 3, and a corkscrew move by McCluster. Gets him the first down to the 30-yard line on a gain of 4.
Kevin, you love to keep them all, and if you ask John Dorsey and Andy Reid, they would have loved to have kept Dexter McCluster, but you know, it's the way it works in free agency and with the salary cap. And you know, here's a guy that I think can be a real asset to this Tennessee offense. They're going to use him like Woodhead last year in San Diego.
Mike DeVito is down for Kansas City. There's an injury timeout in the early stages of the second half. 70 DeVito is down, and they're looking at him, and here was that play.
He just gets rolled up on it. He gets his ankle torqued a little bit. Tries to make the tackle, and then you can see him go down.
DeVito missed all 4 preseason games with a fractured hand.
The thing you like about DeVito, Kevin, is the toughness that he brings to play in that position. You know, and I think he's a guy that gives you great energy and production, and he doesn't take plays off. His motor always seems to run hot.
We've had 2 significant injuries to important defensive players for each side. Zach Brown went out early with a shoulder for the Tennessee Titans, and then what looked to be even more serious was Derek Johnson of Kansas City out with a leg injury, and we have not gotten an update, and now they're going to bring the card on the field for Mike DeVito.
Well, you hate to see it. And,
yeah.
You know, it's kind of a shock to your system, these early games. You know, you're not used to playing in the preseason. The starters are in and out, and now all of a sudden, you know, the speed of the game is significantly different. That's the other thing. Preseason football is one speed. This is a totally different speed. And sometimes we see an increased number of injuries early in the season, usually groins and hamstrings and some muscle pulls because guys aren't used to playing that many snaps.
Fans would say you've got 4 preseason games to get these guys in shape and game ready for the speed you were just talking about, but yet people don't want to see as many preseason games. What's the answer?
Well, the league would tell you, how about 2 preseason games and some extra games on Sunday?
Right.
Our network would love that, but the problem is, Kevin, it's hard in 2 preseason games to evaluate your roster, to evaluate the young players. I would not have made an NFL team if there were only 2 preseason games. I needed those 3rd and 4th preseason games to show the Minnesota Vikings that maybe I had a chance to be an NFL player.
Well, let's look at the 2 injuries. We just saw DeVito, and now they'll take him off. And let's look back in the first half with Derek Johnson and the non-contact injury.
He just falls right behind the umpire, and kind of a self-inflicted wound. And then you look at DeVito, and you don't really see it as much, but it looked like he
First and 10,
was
Tennessee
torqued, trying to grab McCluster, and then he just kind of rolled to his right.
Alan Bailey is on the defensive line with Dontari Poe. It's a 1st and 10. Big play, a pass of 40 yards to Hunter. Locker, McCluster. He's almost too quick for his own good, down to the 27-yard line and a pickup of 3. They didn't want to lose him, but they knew he was going to get the money. And, of course, you got to have all these camp considerations.
Yeah, really, I thought we might see a little bit more of the rookie, Bishop Sankey, but I think you're always a little scared to play the rookies, Kevin, early this season, especially on the road. And I think you're better off going with the veterans. We've seen a lot of Sean Green and, of course, Dexter McCluster getting a lot more touches here to begin the second half.
Chiefs in the nickel, 2nd down and 7. McCluster. Got by Owens, and then down he goes with Parker making the stop. It's a gain of 6. McCluster, as you can see with the run. And here is Whisenhunt. Here's what he had to say about McCluster. We open up a whole new avenue of things, and now we can do with him. His skill set is terrific and really enhances our offense.
Well, he gives him versatility. I think they'll use him a little bit like Ken Whisenhunt used Danny Woodhead last year in San Diego, more out of the backfield. And he's got a suddenness to him, Kevin, that's very unusual. He's got that quickness, and he's got such a low center of gravity. Sometimes because of his height, he gets lost behind that big offensive line.
3rd and 1. That's caught by Wright as he'll dance his way for a 1st down to the 14, pickup of 7.
It just seems like the Chiefs are just a step slow on defense, and I don't think they anticipated the tempo with which this Titans offense has played through the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, 3 minutes of the second half. The ball's coming out quick. They're getting plays in and out quick. And I always say there's 2 types of quarterbacks in this league. Those that feel pressure and those that apply pressure. Right now, Jake Locker is applying the pressure.
Schwenke, the center, just left the field groggy. Chris Spencer, a veteran of 10 years, has taken his place. It is a 1st down. Opening drive of the second half for Tennessee. The elusive McCluster to the 12. Brought down by Dontari Poe, picks up 2.
And we talked a little bit about this Tennessee offensive line. I think it's the strength. It has a chance anyway to be the strength of this unit. They invested a lot of time and money a season ago in Levitri. They drafted Warmack and Schwenke. They went out and got Michael Orr this year in free agency. They are big, they are powerful, and they come off the ball in the running game.
And they're wealthy.
And they are winning the battle in the trenches.
8th play of the drive. 2nd down and 8. The fake to Wright, the receiver, who's going to offer a block. And Locker runs hard to the sideline, and Sean Smith is there. He'll be shy of a 1st down by a yard.
Well, good look at Hunter here. He falls down on the back side of the route. They're trying to get the ball out the front side, but Locker does the next best thing. Again, Kevin, he'll pick it up 5-6 yards off the scramble. Really helps you keep you in the normal down and distance.
Schwenke, the center, is back in. They bring in another tackle. There's a lot of beef on that right side. 3rd and 2, timeout. I think they had some personnel issues. They also brought in another tight end. Big 3rd and 2 coming up for the Tennessee Titans. The old step aside. After the timeout, 3rd and 2 for Tennessee. They took out those tight ends, Rich. They put an extra receiver. McCluster was in the backfield. That is caught by Wright, one of the top 3rd down receivers of a year ago. Touchdown! Jake Locker has just thrown his 2nd touchdown pass to a guy that's so effective on 3rd down, Kendall Wright, 6-yard strike.
Well, the ball comes out so quick, and then Wright's able to square up, make a little bit of move, and extend the ball.
Ryan Suckup on for the extra point. Brett Kern holding.
Locker looks like a completely different player.
He really does. I mean, I think he feels comfortable in the offense, and the ball is coming out quick. He's been very decisive with his decisions and his reads.
Last night we were talking with the Titans, Rich. I think you asked everybody, what do you think of Locker? What do you think of Locker? And every one of them said, we love him.
Yeah, and I think even Ken Whisenhunt, I think, I think he came in, he was, cautiously optimistic, and I think he's been very pleased with what he's seen from Locker so far.
Suckup makes it 17-3. Locker with 2 touchdown passes, both short, but both right there. Very talented young receiver. Wright dives for 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at KBB.com.
They painted the city red for the Chiefs in the opening of the season. Wright effective on 3rd down. 3rd and 1, he caught 1 for 7 on that drive. 3rd and 2, he caught the 6-yard touchdown pass.
And these Tennessee receivers are so good after the catch. That's where a lot of the big plays and the yards show up.
Kyle Davis out of Arkansas. He'll keep this. They stepped on the chalk. And alertly the referee was right there. And speaking of referees, one of the newest members of our CBS family is Mike Carey, who will join us from New York. And Mike, on this particular play, Kendall Wright diving in and hitting the pylon. Talk about that for us.
That's an interesting one, Kevin. It's going to raise eyebrows in Kansas City because the ball comes loose. But as soon as the ball touches the pylon, in control of the runner, it's an instant touchdown.
Yeah, they do a great job there. Thanks, Mike, for clarifying that. And again, it's just a really nice play by the receiver, knowing the rules, extending the ball, and making sure he gets part of that pylon.
First.
Here is Jamal Charles out of the backfield on 1st down and 10. A quiet first half, then banged on a play right there by Xavier Gooden. He's out of Mizzou. He picks up 3, does Charles. Very quiet as we talk. Look at these numbers, Rich. This is a guy that was so explosive.
Yeah, that's a problem right now. I mean, you think about they trying to create some opportunities for Charles. They did that a season ago, and of course he didn't disappoint. They had 12 touchdown runs, 7 touchdown catches, led the league with 19 touchdowns overall, but he's been quiet here today.
6 in the secondary for Tennessee. It's 2nd down and 7. It's the tight end Kelsey outside. That was the guy that, Rich, you thought, who picks up 10 right there. That was the guy you thought had to be the who and Jamal Charles and who else?
No question. I think the tight end was the most disappointing position a season ago for Kansas City. They had 5 different tight ends that saw action, and they combined for just 53 catches. They're counting on Kelsey, as you said, Kevin, who really battled the injury bug last year, to have a big year. He can really be productive for them in the middle of the field.
So Charles has only touched it 8 times in the game. It is a 1st down for the Chiefs at the 33. Alex Smith going up deep as receiver fell. Across the way, they were going for Avery, who's got incredible speed. And that time he just slipped. You've seen a lot of guys slip actually on this turf this afternoon.
Yeah, pretty good coverage here by McCourt. He just goes down.
33-yard line.
Rich, Alex Smith began the game 8 of 9, and then he missed the last 5 passes to close the first half of play. What have your thoughts been on Smith?
Well, I think it's important, Kevin, as we begin the second half, to get him back in rhythm. And you do that by high completion percentage throws, the screen game, the quick game, so that he feels more comfortable in this offense.
Casey gets a hold of Charles. No gain for Jamal to the 33.
Well, you just look at Jamal Charles, and again, done a nice job kind of bottling him up around the line of scrimmage. They talked about getting hits on him when he gets the football and not giving up the explosive play. I think that's really the important thing. Defensive coordinator Ray Horton talked about him. He said, you can't stop him, but you can limit him. Make him earn his carries and yards.
Chiefs now have 3rd and 10, 1 of 7 on 3rd downs today. Allen, by the way, has begun the second half back at the right tackle after missing some snaps in the first half. He's held, and Klug will bring him down. Carl Klug, who came off his best preseason, the 4th-year player out of Iowa, the 3rd sack given up by the Kansas City offensive line.
Well, you're going to see Klug. He's just right in the middle of your screen. And he's working on the left guard, McGlynn. And he Glenn initially does a pretty good job, but then he just fights through it, and Alex Smith has nowhere to go.
So another punt coming up for Dustin Colquitt. McCluster is back inside the 25 for the Tennessee Titans. Leading a couple of short touchdown passes by Locker. McCluster. He knows how the wind is affected here by the form of the stadium. Hang of 4-6. 44-yard punt. Carl Klug off the defensive tackle, up the middle, and capturing the quarterback for the Tennessee defense. It's not too late to play NFL.com Fantasy. Enjoy free mobile apps so you can join, draft, and play from anywhere. Sign up at NFL.com/fantasy. Chiefs 5 plays punt. Lost 2 defensive starters, DeVito and Derek Johnson. Now Locker, who's thrown 2 short touchdown passes and is brimming with confidence. 1st and 10 from the 30. It's a little draw play handoff, and it goes to the rookie, and Rich was just talking about him. The rookie out of Washington, Bishop Sankey. He is a 2nd-round pick, and he picks up about 3. And for all the outsiders, misfits, and true originals, CBS presents a new series that's pure genius, inspired by a true story, Scorpion. It premieres Monday to September 22nd, only on CBS. So now they go to the 3rd running back, Rich.
Nice. Get the young guys some reps.
2nd down and 6. Locker. Hunter is in the sights, and the veteran Sean Smith, the full-time starter a season ago, makes the defensive coverage.
Well, they're going after these Kansas City corners, and Sean Smith has always had the size and the length that you like, but he hasn't always played the ball well in the air. Does a nice job in that situation. You have to ask yourself, Kevin, if you're defensive coordinator Bob Sutton and you're without 2 of your starting inside linebackers, Mays, who didn't dress today, and Derek Johnson, who got hurt, does that limit what you do here in the second half in terms of your scheme and your pressures?
Already they've gone to 7 defensive backs here, 7 of them. 3rd and 6 for Locker. Here they come. And there he goes. And finally brought down by Justin Houston, and shy of the 1st down. It's the 4th sack by the Kansas City D, and they got a punt, loss of a yard.
Well, it's a blitz zone, so they're going to bring pressure. They bring pressure, and then they drop as well. And so what happens is that Locker gets fooled. And when you get fooled, the best thing you can do is throw it away. And you don't want to take a sack in this situation. But we see a lot of pressures where they bring blitz on one side and they drop on the other. That can be very confusing for a quarterback.
Kern to punt. And Hemingway just about got a handout. Frankie Hammond Jr. Not a lot of space, and down he goes. 54-yard punt, 2-yard return. No place to run, no place to hide, with a nice defensive play there.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Bose, official sound of the NFL.
The former Oklahoma Joes, now just Joes. Nationally known barbecue from the pistol. 1st and 10. Smith going deep, and he's got Avery. But he undershot him in a 2nd interception. Jason McCourty picked it off, and there he goes. McCourty can run with blocking ahead. Fasano tries to get him, and then Charles decks him. 2nd interception by the best pass cover corner that the Titans have. Jason McCourty, 43-yard return.
Well, we've seen a couple interceptions in the direction of Avery. And look at McCourty. He changes lanes, and it's a little bit underthrown. And with the smaller receiver, sometimes you get these type of plays. And that's really where you miss a guy like Dwayne Bowe that can out-jump a guy like McCourty. Alex Smith has got to throw that one out in front of Avery and not slow him up, not make him come back for it.
Look at the beginning field position at the 15-yard line for the Titans deep in Kansas City territory. Last year, Rich, the Chiefs were so good in beginning field position, one of the best in pro football, And today, just the exact opposite. They've had 8 total possessions, 5 starts at their 20 or worse.
Yeah, more drives starting in the plus territory. They had 38 last year, Kevin, and you're talking about it's a combination of the return game and the takeaways by their defense. They haven't had the takeaways. In fact, they're giving the ball away. And
there's a review here to see if he was touched after he got the ball. Avery is right there, and let's see, did they touch him?
You know, they swung and missed.
I don't think there was a touch. And McCourty wisely got up and ran. Avery had some space, but the ball was underthrown.
Yeah, and you got him, you know, again, it's part of it's on the quarterback. You love to tell the receiver to try and come back. I think he's trying to do that. McCourty just makes a really good play. Clearly, he is their best cover corner. He had a solid season a year ago for the Titans.
Rich, the broader picture for the playoff Kansas City Chiefs from a season ago, and again we see the interception, and the question is here as they take a look at it in a review, was he touched? Change of possession always warrants this. The Chiefs, who are right now down 17-3, are not a team that is built to come from behind.
No, they're really not. I mean, think about how they won 11 games last year. They ran the football with Jamal Charles. Their defense was stingy. The defense created turnovers and field position, and they were very good in the kicking game. And so, you know, I just said this drive to start this had to be a sense of urgency, and now they turn the football over. This game's going to get away from them here pretty quickly. They got to hold them. It's a sudden change of possession. They've got to hold them to a field goal. And Alex Smith, Andy Reid, they got to find a way to get this offense cranked back up.
Once again, this is the stoppage of play with the review, and the question is, was he touched?
I think clearly he has possession. The ball's moving, but it's against his body, and he's got his arm wrapped around it. That's the first thing you look at. And then whether or not Avery was able to touch him down.
The Tennessee defender completed the catch, was down by contact at the 43-yard line. It'll be Tennessee's ball, 1st and 10 at the 43. Game clock operator, please set the game clock to 6 minutes, 35 seconds, please. 6:35. Thank you.
So Alex Smith has thrown his second interception. McCourty has been the thief both times for the defensive secondary for the Titans. Tennessee will begin at their own 43-yard line.
1st and 10 Titans from the Tennessee 43-yard line.
This crowd is quiet. I think they're stunned.
A lot of people are stunned. Now they're operating out of the eye. 1st and 10. Locker. He's got receiver Nate Washington. 1st down, 39-yard line. And he was working across the way on Berry. It's a 19-yard gain.
Kevin, you mentioned a lot of people are stunned. I don't think the Tennessee Titans are at all. I think they came in expecting to play well. And they have really done a nice job with this offensive line. I've been so impressed with this group up front. They've done a good job getting off the ball, opening up some holes, getting up on the second level. And I think both tackles, for the most part, have played well. You look at Orr on the one side and Michael Ruse, the veteran, on the other. Doing a good job handling Tamba Hali and Justin Houston.
Well, as I said, they spent a lot of money on that line, Rich.
Money well spent.
16 to 23. He's on the money right there. Taylor Thompson, the tight end. Run out of bounds by James Michael Johnson, the linebacker taking the place of Derek Johnson. 14-yard pickup, 1st down.
He was driven out of bounds by James Michael.
This little crossing route, you're going to see he's working up against man-to-man coverage. And again, attacking in the middle of the field. Why not? You're without Derek Johnson, your leading tackler from a year ago. Joe Mays isn't playing. So let's go after Josh Mwaga and James Michael Johnson. These are guys that don't have a lot of reps in the middle of that defense.
Green is in the backfield. 2 tight ends for Locker. 1st and 10. Sean Green running downhill down to the 19-yard line and picks up 5 right there. So defensively, when you lose starters like that, what does that do in terms of calls? And because the radio calls from the sideline were coming into Derek Johnson.
Yeah, right. So that changes a lot, Kevin, in terms of, I think, what Bob Sutton can do. I think it maybe limits a little bit some of the pressures. You're thin in terms of substitutions. and just guys not working together, guys not having the experience and the reps in the system.
Chiefs in the nickel, 2nd down and 5. Sean Green. And pounds his way for a gain of 4 and a yard shy of the first, near the 15-yard line. I'll tell you what, offensive linemen love when they get those 4, 5, and 6-yard runs. It gives them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, they can start banging away. You get a good look at Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator. He did a terrific job last year with this unit, and he's a little short-handed today. Bunch of injuries already for the Chiefs.
3rd and 1. And he gets the first down with a good run.
This is where I think we're going to see heavy doses of Sean Green. This is where it gets fun. You start running the football and you've got a fresh back and Sean Green, you just have him smack it up in there. And then when he gets tired, you bring in Dexter McCluster. And then when he gets tired, you bring in Bishop Sankey. It's a 3-headed monster. And you got a little bit of a lead. You're feeling good about yourself. This is where you beat him up inside.
1st and 10. Green looked like he ran into his own blocker, Roos.
Roos gets the assist there.
Roos did get it. Ali brings him down. That's a gain of a yard. And Rich, this is all in the wake, this kind of offense, this 3-headed monster, this running back by committee with Chris Johnson now gone.
Well, I think in today's NFL, you almost have to have that, Kevin, where you have backs that perform different roles. And I think Sean Green can be very effective as an inside runner. I think Sankey, once he figures things out, can be the guy that can bounce runs. And of course, Dexter McCluster gives you so much flexibility and versatility. You can see him out here now,
yes,
at the bottom of the screen.
7th play of the drive, 2nd down and 9. Blitz, Locker, caught, dropped. Well, the blitz came from Abdullah. And the ball was dropped by Delanie Walker.
Yeah, you've got to be able to do something to create a negative play, and you're going to see them bring some pressure outside and inside. Abdullah comes in. Walker gets it out quick. Sometimes you don't see the throw. It's very difficult for the receiver to get his head around in time.
This is where they need the crowd here to get involved, even though the Chiefs are down 17-3, 3rd and 9. McCluster at the side of Walker. McCluster, he got held up. I think he got tangled up with Ali, and that knocked him off stride, thus ruining the play and the rhythm.
Well, they brought a blitz, and Ali does a nice job. He peels off. Once he sees McCluster, he grabs him. And he does just enough to disrupt him so that Locker can't get it out.
So here comes Ryan Succop, signed this week after being released by the Chiefs. This is a 31-yard field goal try. The punter, Kern, will hold. He's got a 36-yarder already in his back pocket. And from 31. Perfect.
The kick is good.
2:46 to go in the 3rd, and the lead is 20-3. Tennessee. They've gotten 2 field goals. They've gotten 2 touchdown passes from Locker. And their defense is putting pressure on Kansas City. Well, the Tennessee Titans, Rich, have scored 20 unanswered points.
Yeah, there's a sense of, you talk about a sense of urgency. It's time for Jamal Charles. He's got to do something. He's got to take one to the house for the Chiefs to get back in this game. This is a critical possession down 20-3.
Succop will knock this one deep.
That's the 2nd time he stepped out.
Can you believe that?
Talk about knowing where you are on the field. So important as a kick returner. That's the 2nd time Nile Davis, I think it was his right foot both times. He steps right on
the chalk.
Right on the chalk. Yep.
Rich, we didn't talk to a defensive player of Tennessee who did not mention that number 25 was the entire focus of the defense of the Tennessee Titans.
I think they've done a really nice job corralling him, containing him. And I think we talked the importance about somebody other than Jamal Charles. And I think that it's Jamal Charles' time now. 21 rushing yards, just 15 receiving yards. They've got to get this guy on track as we get ready to start the 4th quarter here.
He's had 9 touches is all. 1st and 10. Avery right there. And McCourty meets him with a first down throw and a good one by Smith. He's out to the 35 and he picks up 15.
And even sometimes going no huddle, Kevin, I think can help. You get a quarterback like Alex Smith back in rhythm.
But this is the drive, you think, of the game for the Chiefs right here.
Absolutely. Something good has to happen here for Kansas City. I mean, Tennessee has played too good on defense, and right now they've got a ton of confidence with their offense.
Titans with the nickel secondary. And then they go to Avery, and McCourty with the stop and the gain to the 40, and he's going to pick up 5.
Hey, look at the total yards there. I mean, it's amazing. You just haven't been able to get anything going here in the second half. And when you go no huddle, it makes it more difficult for defensive coordinator Ray Horton to dial up those pressures, to make substitutions.
Second down and 5. And a very quiet Arrowhead to let the offense operate, and that's well over the head of intended receiver A.J. Jenkins, or is that Hammond? That was Hammond on the far side. Frankie Hammond Jr. in his first NFL game.
That was not a very good throw by Alex Smith. And
He's covered by
well, he's thrown the 2 interceptions. If you're in a game like that, do you now begin to be a little bit gun shy? I mean, if you're a quarterback, how do you operate?
I don't think so. I mean, look, Kevin, he's been in a lot of big games and he's played a lot of football. And I think, you know, right now you got to take some more chances. I think you got to be a little bit more aggressive. Try and push the ball down the field. When you're down 20-3 and your defense isn't playing that well.
Chiefs have missed their last 7 third downs. 3rd and 5. Deep and incomplete with Hemingway downfield. Doubled. And a nondescript possession for the Chiefs on what you just said was maybe the most important of the game for them.
And here come the Bluebirds.
Yep.
You know, when I study this Kansas City offense, even with Dwayne Bowe last year, they don't create a lot of separation against man-to-man coverage. And because they don't do that, they see a ton of it. And they don't have anybody that scares you at the wide receiver position. And that's a problem for them right now.
Does that show the importance of Bowe, or are we just putting too much on Bowe's shoulders?
I think Bowe's critical. I mean, not your fake punt.
It is, and there's the run.
And they're short.
And they're going to be short by a yard. They couldn't get it with the run up the middle. And that was Cyrus Gray, who picks up 4 on 4th and 5.
Well, I can't fault them, Kevin, for trying it. You know, just the direct snap to the up back, Cyrus Gray. And you got to give the Titans a little bit of credit. They do a nice job recognizing it and coming off the blocks and getting the stop. But when you're down 20-3, you're not dominating defensively. Your quarterback is struggling, and you can't get Jamal Charles going. Things get desperate. I don't fault them for taking that shot there.
So the Chiefs lose it on downs. Jackie Battle in the backfield, another former Chief player. Blocker from the 44, 1st and 10. Green, and he slices his way down to about the 42 and picks up 3 on the play.
And we're seeing the Tennessee Titans kind of close things up here a little bit and try and run the ball here a lot more. And this is where Shawn Green can really be a factor. Late in games where guys are tired, he's a powerful runner. He doesn't go down easily. He always seems to be falling forward at the end of runs.
Chiefs with 5 in the secondary. 2nd down and 8. The fake to Green. The throw to right elusively maneuvers to the 38-yard line and picks up 4 right there. 2 Kansas City defensive starters are out, as we mentioned. DeVito is gone. Derek Johnson gone with injury.
That's a good tackle by Eric Berry.
It was.
He gets there quick. And when he gets there, he knows what to do. He's a very good tackler in the open field. He can play at all 3 levels of your defense. He's very comfortable down around the line of scrimmage. He's an excellent blitzer. He's good in space, and he's got good range in the middle of the field.
Timeout. They were going to have to run a play because the play clock was less than the 3rd quarter clock. 7 on the play clock, 9 on the 3rd quarter clock. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS rolls out a doubleheader. First, Tom Brady and the Patriots square off with Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. And Alex Smith and the Chiefs challenge Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Check local listings beginning with the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines.
met our guy Tony Gonzalez. I was fortunate enough to play with him, and you've called a ton of Tony's games over the years, not just here in Kansas City, but in Atlanta. A great addition to our pregame show, along with Bart Scott.
He sure is. And he could have played again this year.
Oh, easily.
You know,
and there's a lot of teams that were interested.
I know it. You better believe it.
And he still will probably get a phone call or two, probably here in October or November when somebody gets desperate.
But the grind, Rich, you played 17, 18 years in the NFL. You did that. It wears on you after a while, doesn't it?
It does. There's so much that goes into this. That's why losing in week 1 at home would be devastating for the Chiefs. So much has gone into this first game. All the preparation, all the OTAs, the mini camps, training camp.
3rd and 4, blitz is on. The pass is caught. First down. That's Delanie Walker. Banging off bodies and takes it to the 23. Big play for Tennessee. A 15-yard connection. Zeros on the clock. And that is how Tennessee will go to the 4th quarter. Walker's caught a touchdown pass. But a big catch right there keeps the drive alive, and Tennessee in firm control. Rich Walker's been great on 3rd downs today. He's 7-9.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job, Kevin, getting the ball out quick and knowing exactly where to go with it.
1st and 10 handoff. There goes a flag. Green takes it to the 20-yard line. But to convert like that, 7-9 on 3rd, as we saw at the end of the 3rd.
Holding. Offense. Number 70. That penalty is 10 yards. Replay, first down.
You like his footwork.
Well, look at this. They're going to be one short. And watch Locker. What he's going to do is he's going to move to his right to buy extra time. Why? Because he's one short. And this is a really nice play by the veteran quarterback, sliding to his right, buying some time, and converting on 3rd down.
First down and 20.
I've seen great growth from Locker just in this first game alone.
He looks terrific. There was a hold on Tennessee. 1st and 20. Back at the 33. McCluster is back there with him. Oh, look at him dance. And cut, and then brought down by Poe on a gain of 1. You constantly talk about footwork with quarterbacks.
Well, it's critical. We talk about trusting your feet and understanding, if you're supposed to be at 5 or at 7, how it helps and impacts the tackles. And the other thing is stepping up inside that pocket with a sense of urgency and playing fast from under center. And we're seeing more and more of that with Locker. The game to me seems like it's slowed down for Jake Locker. I give a lot of the credit to the guy calling plays. Ken Whisenhunt has done an outstanding job preparing Jake Locker.
2nd down, 19 for Locker. Chiefs with the nickel. Flag.
Now get down.
And that's exactly right. Get down and get out. And he did both. Abdullah is the one to shove him out of play. Ali was right on his tail. And the quarterback wisely finds the sideline.
The Titans marched off to a 3-1 record last season.
Offense, number 71. It's 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 2nd down.
It is a real craft, isn't it, to call plays, be a play caller, let alone being a head coach, but what to call and get the feel and the rhythm of the game.
Well, it is, and I think that, you've got to understand who Jake Locker is, what he does well, what he's got a history with. Remember now, it's his 3rd different play caller in 3 years. And so I think Ken Whisenhunt has put together a plan that Locker feels good about. And I think that, he's really worked with Locker on trusting the system, trusting the offensive line, the protections, and getting the ball out quick.
2nd down, 29. And here they go for Derek Hagan. His first catch as a Titan, picks up 10. Let's take you to our CBS studios and James Brown.
Rich Gannon could move like this, couldn't he?
He really could. It's a lot easier being a play caller when you call plays like this and your running backs make guys miss right in the hole. And you can see Chris Ivory, he's going to go 71 yards for the touchdown. Celebrates there a little bit early. They went for 2. That failed. 19-7. Jets over the Raiders in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, celebrate after the fact. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon.
How about the Raiders haven't won a road game, Rich, since 2009 in the Eastern time zone. Here's a 3rd and 20. Deep and incomplete. Looking for Hunter. With the coverage on Ron Parker and a flag at the 7. And it was 3rd and 20.
How does something like that happen on 3rd and 20?
What? Oh, I thought you were talking about the Raiders not winning in the Eastern Time Zone since 2009.
I know how that happens.
You know.
There's no foul on the play for
He's got
defensive
9
pass
different
interference. The
starting
result
quarterbacks in
is an
11
incomplete
seasons.
pass.
That's how it happens. Almost fell out of my chair.
I know. Talk about the Raiders, you get all excited.
Well, you know, look at that. 3rd and...
No flag, as we heard, incomplete. And so they'll punt.
This guy hasn't had a lot of work today, has he?
Kern, well, his offense has been so terrific.
Frankie Hammond Jr.
But those 2 holding plays basically costs Tennessee a field goal.
Yep.
So Hammond is back. This will be all placement for Kern, who last year had the 2nd best team average in team history with his net of 39 yards, in fact 39.7. Former Denver Bronco, waived by the Broncos back in 2009.
That's a penalty on Kansas
Sure
City.
is. They were offsides. And Hammond at the 10.
Well, too sloppy. You know, you look at Kansas City, and they've made too many mistakes. And you know, you turn the ball over. You don't protect the quarterback. You don't tackle. You don't do the little things right. You find yourself in this predicament.
So now, if they move it 5 yards, maybe they got a shot at a field goal.
Yeah, they're actually
And sure enough,
Offside.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Defense, number 49.
So that penalty,
It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
And you're just going to see right here.
Can you believe that?
Just a little bit early, right
Yep.
there. And Sorensen can't help himself. It's understanding situational football. And that's what they have not done a good job of today.
Suckup already has 2 field goals. One of 31, and the other late first half of 36. So that penalty was in essence going to give the Chiefs the ball with no damage. They go off sides. They move the ball up 5. Here is a 46-yard field goal for a guy who knows everything about this stadium, Ryan Suckup. .46-yarder is perfect. And the Tennessee Titans lead by 20. They've scored 23 unanswered points. And their former player Suckup has whacked them for 9. 3 field goals. Well, the Chiefs, as we mentioned before, not Rich, a good come-from-behind team. Under 13 to play in the game, and you're down by 20 points.
Yeah, I think you look at the situation right now, and I think offensively, don't worry about the score. Just go out and run the offense. Just try and gain some confidence, get some momentum, even if it gets you back into this game, or even some momentum that you can carry into next week's game. They have not looked sharp. Only 30 yards of offense this half.
Suckup, who just belted a 46-yard field goal. This time Davis will stay off the chalk and take it upfield. Kyle Davis. And returns at 25 yards on the play. It was a year ago. Suckup was wearing the red, white, and gold of the Chiefs. And in Nashville on a rainy day, kicked 4 field goals as the Chiefs came from behind to beat the Tennessee Titans. And that one of 48 was a beauty with heavy air. You can see today, coming back to Arrowhead after he was signed earlier this week, what he's done and now what he means with Rob Baronis being let go in March.
Yeah, a little revenge. If you look at that 3 for 3, and he's always been good on kickoffs. And again, you said, Kevin, you love to keep them all, but losing players like Suckup and McCluster, that hurts.
Smith, 1st and 10. Looking for Hammond Jr. Belted. The ball is free. There goes a flag. There was a hit, and it was on Hammond by Bleedy Ray Wilson, who was in the vicinity. And there are a couple players for this Tennessee team that have gotten notes from the league.
Personal
Wilson.
foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 21. Hit to a defenseless player.
That's George Wilson.
The 15-yard penalty from the previous foul.
The former
And
Buffalo
automatic
Bill.
first down.
Well, he sees it all the way. He's just going to lower his shoulder, and he hits the receiver up around the neck area. And again, you can't do that. Hits on defenseless receivers That will cost them a few bucks.
So what happens? They get the letter from the league and says, hey, you're on warning, you're another hit, you're going to be in trouble.
No, that letter will come with a fine. There's no warning when you hit a player like that.
How about the guys that already have had warnings, though?
They get the letter because they're repeat offenders.
1st and 10. Smith whacked as he throws. Avery. He got it. Working on McCourty to the 43. That was a nice pass and a pickup of 25, but Smith took a beating.
Well, he sits in here with a tough jaw and he keeps his eyes down the field, but he is going to get whacked there at the end by Jarrell Casey. Really nice throw and good concentration on the boundary by Donnie Avery.
Only 2 touches this half for Charles. That's his 3rd, and there's no place to go right there. And leading the way, Sean Phillips throwing him for a loss of 2. Also, they had Patuatoa in there with the stop.
You know, it's amazing you think about Jamal Charles, the highest percentage of the team's scrimmage yards since 2012, 3,725 yards. It's 34% of what they've done.
2nd down and 12. Now things are loose. Smith shoved out of bounds by Wesley Woodyard on a gain of 5. Well, there was no secret to Tennessee, as we mentioned back in the first half. They told us last night 25 was right in their crosshairs.
Everybody that we visited with, whether it was Ray Horton, a defensive coordinator, or Pollard or Wesley Woodyard, said, hey, Jamal Charles. You know, when we told Woodyard that Charles accounted for almost 1/3 of the offense last year, what did he say? He said, no. He said, to me, it seems like 85%. So they've been tracking 25. They said, look, we're going to make them earn it. We just don't want to give up the big play to Jamal Charles, and they have prevented that today.
It's 3rd down and 7.
Comes the pressure.
Charles will block. The throw is there. Uncatchable for Hemingway and incomplete. And what should be noticed today is that this new 34 defense of Tennessee has done a very good job under new defensive coordinator Ray Horton.
They've done a great job. They've had a kind of a coordinated and consistent pass rush. They've done a nice job containing Alex Smith, getting up the field and setting the edges a little bit. And they've done a nice job on the back end. I thought that was a concern. You know, the corners opposite Jason McCourty, they have played well. They've been all over these receivers of the Chiefs.
Chiefs are going to go for it on 4th and 7. They need the 33.
Here comes pressure.
Up the middle again, and this time it is caught. Fasano, the tight end, 1st down to the 22, and a pickup of 17.
And this is where the Chiefs have to win this year, inside with their tight ends on these safeties. And whether it's Kelsey or now Fasano, they need more production and consistency out of the tight ends.
The Chiefs on this drive, which began back at their 17, have got completions of 25 to Avery. 17 right there to the tight end for Son. 1st and 10. Smith, Fasano, incomplete. Coverage by Woodyard, who knows this Kansas City offense well, having played in Denver. 2nd down and 10.
And Woodyard's make a lot of plays this year, Kevin. You know, I think his responsibilities changed a little bit coming over from Denver in that 4-3 to a 3-4. One less gap to worry about, which should free him up to make more tackles. You see that little C on his chest. And he gives you not only the production that you like at that position, but the leadership. And he's a great communicator as well.
Rich, there have been a lot of teams that have gone to that 34. In fact, there's a nice tilt in the AFC in that regard.
Absolutely. The majority of the teams in the AFC are playing a 3-4. Why is that? We have a lot of guys that are 4-down players.
2nd and 10. Big hit by Pollard. Ball jarred free from Kelsey. It's loose, they feel. Wilson got it on the deflection. And let's see if they call it. They call it a catch. At least one official did.
Well, I really enjoyed our visit with Bernard Pollard last night, former Chief. What did he say? He said, we want to be like 11 dogs without leashes on the field. He just said our defensive coordinator wants to make sure we've got our rabies shots. But this guy brings a physical presence to the secondary. That is a textbook hit. And he also told us he got warned by the leg to start the season.
1st and goal at the 10. Pollard there again. Working on Charles. A horse collar. Yep. They got him around the neck.
This guy just can't get right. He said he got a friendly letter from the league office. Merton Hanks reminded him that he's a repeat offender. He needs 28 more games. 28 more games to wipe his plates.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's had a lot of hits on.
That's a couple years at least, huh?
For him, it may be an eternity. But he was great. And he is going to hold the players accountable. That's what he does. He came over from Baltimore a season ago. He said he didn't like how they practiced at times, and he's willing to speak up.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, offense, number 61. Personal foul, horse collar tackle. Defense, number 58. Those fouls offset. We'll replay second down.
61 is the center, Hudson.
Right in the middle of your screen. Yeah, he's grabbing. He's trying to get around. He's out leveraged there. Then you're going to see right here at the end, Pollard comes down and. Well, he actually grabs the hair. That was a bad call. You're allowed to grab the hair of the defender. And in Jamal Charles' case, he's got a lot of it.
Ask Troy Polamalu. He's had hair grabbed and ripped out. Jeff Allen is out as the right tackle. They put in Ryan Harris. Offset, replay, first and goal at the 10. Incomplete. Pressure again. Carl Klug is pushing up the middle. Batted down.
You know, I mentioned Pollard's willingness to speak up. And Kevin, it's amazing to me at this level how many guys are not willing to do that. Not stand in front of a group of men, in front of a group of their peers, because they don't want to be criticized. Who are you to speak up? What have you done? And Pollard, he has no problem doing it, holding the other players accountable. They want to play at a certain level. And he expects a standard of excellence from his teammates. I think that's great.
Second goal at the 10 for Kelsey. That is incomplete. And the coverage by Bleedy Ray Wilson out of UConn.
No, he's going to get
taunting.
Yep, he can't do it. And it was a point of emphasis in the preseason. These players were shown videos of it, what to expect.
He's a second-year player replacing the Pro Bowler, Werner, as we talked about before.
All right, makes a good play. Now watch him get up and go over into the face of Kelsey.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting by the defense. Number 25.
Can't do it.
That penalty is half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
First and goal, Chiefs from the Tennessee 5-yard line.
So now Kansas City with the first and goal at the 5 as opposed to the 10. A.J. Jenkins in motion. The tight end Fasano. Touchdown. Fasano caught one for 17 on this drive, and he lunges in for 6.
Yes, it's good to see Fasano, who missed 7 games with a variety of injuries last year. Question is whether that knee is down, but does a nice job extending the ball as he tries to score.
Every scoring play reviewed, and that's what's going on now.
You know, it's hard to tell because of the shading. His left side. Well, they got a chance to be pretty good in the passing game at the tight end position with Fasano. We saw Kelsey. His season never came together last year because of that leg injury that eventually landed him on IR. We mentioned Fasano missed 7 games. I think that's close.
He vaulted off his outstretched arm and I think kept himself up, and so we got in. The veteran Fasano, formerly in Miami and Dallas, and that's the point there by Cairo Santos. And there's a new score. Kansas City, 10:09 to play in the 4th, 23-10, the Titans.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
Kansas City, Cairo Santos.
New score, 5-yard touchdown pass moments ago to Fasano, and after that series, Bernard Pollard had something to say to the officials. He was not happy. So he was mouthing off to the officials and taking off his hat. Here is Santos with the kickoff. They were expecting the onside kick, and he sends it out of the end zone. Well, next, a pair of greats let it off, but only one will triumph on the mean courts of Flushing Meadows when Serena Williams takes on Caroline Wozniacki in the Women's Championship of the U.S. Open. Then tomorrow, a pair of standouts square off as Kenesi Corey takes on Marin Cilic in the Men's Championship of the U.S. Open on a special day, a special time.
Was there last Saturday. What a great event.
You were, yeah.
Absolutely. Saw some terrific tennis.
Rich has a tennis player of one of his two daughters. She's #1 rated in the state of Minnesota. Here's a 1st and 10. Big hole right there. And some room to roam on a gain of 5. And the rookie out of Washington, Bishop Sankey, they've got a lot of hope for what he can do as a second-round draft choice, 5-yard gain.
Well, Kevin, I really liked him coming out. He quickly identifies the hole. He shows a good burst through the line of scrimmage. We saw a ton of him in the preseason. I think he's quick and tough enough to be a good inside runner.
Locker has thrown 2 touchdown passes today. This defensive series for the Chiefs is critical.
They're just running out of time. As we have a problem here with
Ball start. Offense, number 70. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Chance Warmack out of Alabama.
Well, you think about last year, Kansas City, when trailing at the half, was 1-5. They're not built to play from behind. I mean, they're not an offense that's going to open it up and have Alex Smith throw it 40 times in a game. They want to run Charles. They want to play great defense, create turnovers in field position. They have not been able to do that through the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, it's interesting that Sankey is in at that 10-yard penalty because Sankey has had some trouble holding on to the ball. Second down. Locker. Low and grabbed and reeled in by Taylor Thompson with his second catch today at the 31. It's a pickup of 11. It's a Tennessee first down.
Really nice job here. Great concentration by Taylor Thompson. This is not a very good throw. It's low and away, but it's a great job going down there and scooping it.
Andy Reid has the red flag in his hand. He's not going to throw it. Here comes Sankey on first down. So a lot of faith shown in the rookie, who's got some history of dropping the ball this deep in your zone with the game a little bit in the balance.
Kevin, they've had some exchange problems between the quarterback and the running back in practice. I think at least half dozen times. So you always worry about that in terms of, the ball exchange between the quarterback and the running back. So if I'm Jake Locker right now, I'm talking to my rookie running back about 2 hands on the ball. Be smart in traffic. Let's not put it on the ground. We've got a 23-10 lead with 8:26 to go.
This Tennessee team has not been to the playoffs since 2008. And they've got the new coach, Ken Whisenhunt. And Rich has talked about his play calling today and just his overall work. You can see his fingerprints on the performance of Locker, how he's staying in the pocket, protecting himself, and trying to stop what has been a litany of injuries in his career.
No question about it. I think Wiz is trying to change the culture and the environment and organization, which has failed to make the playoffs for the 5th straight season.
It's second down and 9. Locker, low and basically uncatchable for Justin Hunter. Looked like he may have rushed that pass a little bit.
Yeah, he's been so accurate. Just that last couple throws have been a little low. Talk about location on throws and how important it is.
From the 32-yard line.
Look at Locker, though, on 3rd down, Kevin, today. 7 of 10.
Just great.
5 of them have gone for first downs.
Washington in the backfield right now. Whisenhunt's going to love that 3rd down mark at the end of the game because it's meant so much to him today. 3rd and 9.
Such a critical down.
3rd and 9. Locker, he got it again. Nate Washington with coverage by Sean Smith. Washington with the catch and a first down grab at the 44. Picks up 12 on 3rd and 9. Locker continues to play well on 3rd down. Flag on the play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer by the defense. Number 90 would have blown the quarterback's head. That 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. First down.
Josh Mauga.
Yeah, you'll see Mauga. He comes in to Locker's right at the end here, and I don't know about all that. But just watch the throw. I mean, great throw by. It's a hard throw. It's a scary throw because if you miss inside, it could result in an interception. It's a nice job getting that out of his hands quickly.
So Locker had the foot injury a season ago, the Liz Frank injury. And he missed time last year. Had a shoulder injury in 2012. He had missed 14 of a possible 32 starts as we began our broadcast. We talked about that.
He's had some bad luck. I mean, he had the hip and the knee. He comes back, and after 2 games, he suffered the foot injury that cost him the remainder of the season.
Chiefs in their base. And a timeout, Tennessee. I think that was called from the sideline. And Ken Whisenhunt will talk things over with his 4th-year quarterback, Jake Locker, leading by 13.
And back here in Kansas City, 7:39 in the 4th quarter. Go back and look at the penalty. Kevin, I should still be playing quarterback. You look at Mauga, he's going to come in here and he's trying to make a play. I don't see a helmet to helmet. I don't see a hands to the face. These officials have missed a couple. I think they missed one there.
1st and 10, Sankey. Look at him slither downfield and take it to the 29. Good looking run of 12 for Sankey, the rookie out of Washington for the Tennessee Titans.
And those 2 guards have done a nice job. Chance Warmack up inside, Andy Levitri. Schwenke to center. A nice job neutralizing that front. Pose a big man to move off the ball, and they've done a nice job getting up on the 2nd level and getting after some of those linebackers. They've attacked inside because of the injury to Derek Johnson and the fact that Joe Mays didn't start either.
Taylor Thompson reposition. Bishop Sankey. And he takes it down to the 24 with the late flag thrown and a gain of 5 on the play. It's going to be against the Titans.
Holding. Offense, number 72. That penalty is 10 yards. Replay, 1st down.
One thing about Locker, when he was healthy last year, Rich, he was showing some promise. I mean, there was some real nice strides in his game, but the injury kind of derailed him. But Whisenhunt told us last night one of the reasons why he chose Tennessee was to work with Locker because he saw a lot on tape when he was healthy.
I think there's a lot to like about him, Kevin. You're right. I think he was making progress. I think he can be a very effective passer from the pocket. We know about his ability to move outside the pocket and make big plays, but I think they've quieted his feet some. I think he's done a much better job sitting in there and making a difficult throw.
That was the 3rd holding play on this drive for Tennessee. Sankey was ramped up that time by Mauga, and there was no gain on the play.
The one thing we've seen less up there, I was just looking at my notes. You know, you think about the quarterbacks that Ken Whisenhunt has worked with. Ben Roethlisberger, a pocket passer. Kurt Warner, a pocket passer. Phillip Rivers doesn't have the great mobility. Here's a guy with great mobility, but we haven't seen a lot of quarterback movement. The boots, the nakeds. They're keeping him in the pocket for a reason. I think they're teaching him to function there, to be comfortable there. And I think, you know, we've seen less and less of that, and I think this is going to be more of a staple in Ken Whisenhunt's offense.
4-minute drive. 2nd down 20. Number 20, Sankey gets it. And hit by a host of Chiefs, including Barry, with a gain of 3. And Locker was telling us last night that he almost was thriving off those hits in college football. But when he got to the pros, you talked about this earlier, it's a different game, a lot faster.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, your best ability is your availability at that position. You have to learn how to play 16 games. It's not easy. You know, how does Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Drew Brees do it? Well, they don't take unnecessary hits. They get the ball out quick. When they get out of the pocket, they throw it away or they find a quick answer throw. And they understand protections.
Right.
They're masters of their domain. And so the game slows down. I think we're starting to see that with Locker. The game is starting to slow down.
This is Leon Washington on 3rd and 17, and he makes it down to about the 28-yard line with a gain of 8. And this will set up another field goal try. As Locker congratulates his guys, they ate up a lot of time on that clock, if nothing else. Now they'll try for 3, and the clock is ticking with 4:45.
Did a nice job mixing it up, and I like the fact that Ken Whisenhunt has utilized all the personnel today, Green and McCluster, as well as Bishop Sankey.
There's a timeout. The Chiefs have taken the timeout. Tennessee is out of timeouts. Chiefs will make Succop think about this with 4:42 to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by Subway. Stay in summer shape with a Super Stack Protein Pack Subway Club. Subway, eat fresh.
Back in Kansas City, where Ryan Suckup, the former Chief, is going to try a 47-yard field goal. Mentioned it earlier, 4 field goals for the Chiefs against the Titans last year in Nashville. And things come full circle now, playing for the Titans and in Kansas City. He could make it 4 field goals. Here's a 47-yarder. Under 5 to play in the 4th quarter. Right down the middle of Main Street. Got it. 47-yarder. 4 field goals today. 2 Locker touchdown passes and a drive over 4 minutes moments ago for Locker in the offense.
You think about the Titans, they added 2 wide receivers, a cornerback, a linebacker, and a kicker off the waiver wire just last week.
26-10. The premiere of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network will kick off this Thursday when the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Baltimore Ravens. AFC North Divisional Showdown.
These are 2 teams that don't like each other. You look at Pittsburgh, they picked up Mike Mitchell, played in Carolina last year. Shazier has looked really sharp in the preseason. And, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to be a lot better offensively with Gary Kubiak coming over from Houston as the offensive coordinator. And Steve Smith brings a little swagger to that offense as well, the former Carolina Panther.
Just a couple years ago, Baltimore, of course, the Super Bowl champions, but they had to gut their team because of retirements, and they knew they were going to be over the cap.
And how about Joe Flacco making $20 million a year? That makes it a little bit more difficult when you tie up that much money in one position.
It's a debilitating contract, whereas the contract of Alex Smith in Kansas City was not. He's the 11th highest paid quarterback in football.
4 years.
They still have some room.
4 years, $68 million. I think it was a good deal for both sides. I'm happy for him. I think he's earned it. Andy Reid said that he didn't want a distraction, and they got it taken care of before the start of the season.
Kyle Davis is deep back, where they've cleared out in a hurry in this stadium. Suckup. Davis will let it go over his head and out of bounds. So a touchback to the 20-yard line. Well, they're down by 16 points, are the Chiefs. And these are some numbers which aren't very good.
Yeah, no, not very good. We talked about them not being built that way to be able to come from behind. You know, they're more of a run it first and play action team, and it's difficult when you've got to spread out and go 3-4 wides, particularly with this offensive line, a rebuilt offensive line in front of Alex Smith.
On the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 for Smith. Hit and sacked again. Coming through, Sammy Hill, 4th sack against this changed Kansas City offensive line, where they've only got 1 returning starter in the same place as a year ago, and that's the center, Hudson.
And this is not what they want to do, have Alex have to drop back and throw it a bunch with all the changes that they have. They're on to really their 3rd tackle when you look at the fact that they've got Ryan Harrison there for Jeff Allen.
And here comes a player off, and this is Eric Fisher. Chiefs have had to take a timeout. One thing about Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs is that Tennessee basically had put this out during the week. We've got to hold him to under 100 yards. That will give us the best chance to win. Today, Charles, 7 carries and 19 yards, 3 catches and 15 through the air.
Well, Kevin, I know you were paying attention last night in our production meeting. I said the 2 keys for the Tennessee Titans defense: corral Charles, which is really no secret, but don't give him a 2-way ghost around the line of scrimmage. Did a good job of that. And eliminate the explosive plays. Make them earn it. And that's what they did. They didn't allow Jamal Charles to have a breakout game.
Well, I was paying attention.
Oh, I know you were.
Second down and 18. Here they come again. This time being chased by Derek Morgan. He's not having a lot of success inside. And he picks up 3 on the scramble.
Forced out of bounds by Wesley Woodyard.
Well, it's nothing fancy. It's just a 4-man rush. Go ahead and run it. And they're dropping 7 in coverage. And the 4-man rush is getting home and making it really difficult on Alex Smith.
And all you need to know, Rich, is that Smith is the leading rusher for the Chiefs. That says it all. 3rd and 15, and they need the 30-yard line. Flag. Fisher the block at the left tackle. Outside is Charles. No gain. But the flag was thrown. We're down to 4:01 to play. There are reports out there about Derek Johnson's leg.
Illegal formation by the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
And because we want to try to confirm those reports, we are still holding back, but it is not a good report. And they're going to punt right here, the Chiefs are. But 2 Achilles injuries, one to DeVito that they have revealed, and to Johnson, the severity of which we don't know, but there are sources that are saying it is not just an ordinary injury.
No, never a good thing when they bring up the cart for both of those players, Johnson and DeVito. And you know, look at social media; it's amazing, Kevin. We can sit up here in the booth and you can look at Twitter and all these reports that, as you said, haven't been confirmed.
Chiefs 1 of 11 on 3rd downs today. Here they got a punt. McCluster is back there, and fair caught at the 33 on a 52-yard punt by Dustin Colquitt.
Well, you know, you look at losing a guy like Derek Johnson. He means so much to your defense. Led the team in tackles last year. Terrific blitzer. And, of course, a guy that brings it inside. Mike DeVito. Tough, physical, doesn't take plays off. And those are 2 injuries that the Chiefs can't afford right now.
1st down and 10. Well, no Chris Johnson. We talked about running back by committee. McCluster's run for 29. Sankey has run for 25. And Sean Green 34. So they've the 3 of them have picked up as much as a Chris Johnson might get in one day. If it works, it works. And here's a good run once again. And this is Green. And he picks up 18 yards. Not very good tackling by the Chiefs. It's interesting these guys can tackle at all because they limit so much contact in practice.
Yeah, they don't really work on it as much as they need to. Watch this finish right here. I mean, you talk about getting low, and Sean Green can make you look silly as a defender. And he runs with power, and he's always finishing runs. He always seems like he's falling forward at the end of his runs. It's a big man.
Now the Chiefs go with Frank Zombo in there as an inside backer. James Michael Johnson is in there. Mauga. So you got 3 guys that don't start. Mauga taking the place of Mays, who is the starter. There's a run, and Green with a gain of 3. And the Chiefs will take a timeout. So they are out of timeouts. And the clock at 3 minutes exactly. So tonight on 60 Minutes, they aren't even out of middle school, and they are being recruited to be Division I college quarterbacks. Meet the man developing the next Mannings. Only on 60 Minutes tonight. That's a good feature, by the way.
That's what I should do. I should be a quarterback guru. Think?
You've been asked to be a coach before, and you've said no.
I like working with you too much. My wife would throw me out, too, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, you think about these coaches,
the hours,
it's amazing, the hours that they put in. It's a real sacrifice. And you know what makes you sick? After you put in all these hours this week, if you're the Chiefs, and you just say, for what? They did not go out and play well, really, in any phase of the game. They weren't sharp offensively, defensively, even in the kicking game, they've had their issues.
2nd and 7, it was Green with another flag.
You know, sometimes when you go to practice on Friday, you get a feel for the football team. I just felt they were so confident. Coming out of practice, had a good, sharp, crisp practice.
Offense, number 77. 15-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
That is the rookie and a 1st-round pick out of Michigan, Taylor Lewan, who is the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. And they've got high hopes for him.
That's how good that offensive line is right now. Lewan's not even starting. But he's got the height at 6'7", the length and the quick feet that you look for at the left tackle position. The thing that I like about him, Kevin, he's got that mean streak and the competitive drive that you love. He is going to be a really good one. And the thing that hurt him a little bit was that they started him at guard initially. I think the first 8 days of training camp, so it took him a while to kind of get the reps. But he is he's going to be a really good tackler. I liked him a lot coming out of Michigan.
We're 110 yards worth of penalties for Tennessee, and they're still up 26-10. Second down and 22. And Sean Green again. And in the secondary, the first hit by Berry, who tried to rip it free, gain of 10.
He was tackled by Eric Berry.
He's not letting up, is he?
No, he's really not. We talked about getting stronger late in the game and with each carry, and I think that's what Sean Green gives you. He gives you the physical, tough runs up inside.
Tennessee has had field goals in their last 3 drives. A total yard story there. 3rd and 12. I can't recall seeing Arrowhead this empty with time left in a game.
No, really sad. They're out tailgating.
They are.
Not going to go home.
3rd and 12. Green. And they shove him down to about the 45.
And one of the benefits for the Titans in a game like this, Kevin, is you get some young guys on the field. We saw Lewan, we saw Bishop Sankey. The rookies some reps, much needed reps.
2-minute warning. Disappointing day in Kansas City. The visiting Titans have been in command most of the way. I think that score is going to surprise some people around the country, don't you think?
I think there's going to be a lot of scores in week 1 that may surprise some people.
Huh?
Certainly this one, Kevin. I never saw this one. I thought it'd be a close game. I didn't anticipate Kansas City would play so poorly at home.
Kern will send it deep. And with a nice run right here, Frankie Hammond Jr. takes it out to about the 33-yard line. A 30-yard return for Frankie Hammond Jr. in his first NFL game. And Rich, here is what's coming up for Kansas City, and it looks difficult.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. 3 of the next 4 are on the road. They've got to go to Denver. They've got on the road to Miami. They've got the Patriots at home, which will be a tough game. Of course, at San Francisco before the bye. 3 of the 4 on the road, including 3 playoff teams from a year ago. I mean, that's scary. I mean, you know, if the loss today, they could be 1-4 heading into their bye.
Well, remember last year they started 9-0. It turned out to be the longest winning streak in the NFL last season. And that will not be the case now. Charles in the backfield, 1st and 10 from the 33. Fisher a good block to buy some time on Wembley, and he goes outside. This is Donnie Avery, who makes another grab, picks up 12 on the play. Each team out of timeouts. First and 10. And Smith to Avery once again, shoved out of bounds by Bleedy Ray Wilson. Gain of 6. Clock is stopped down to the 49-yard line.
When you think about the Chiefs, they won 11 games last year. Kevin, we just look at the schedule. I think it's a much more difficult schedule. You know, we talked to Alex Smith on Friday about, you know, handling and dealing with the expectations. They could be a better football team this year and maybe not win as many games. I mean, it's a tough division. San Diego's a playoff team last year. Broncos won 13 games.
2nd down and 4. Smith and incomplete out of banging downfield. No yellow on the field. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Tennessee.
Well, just look at the tight end. He's not even, just watch, he's not even looking for the ball. Watch his head. He never looks back until it's too late.
Yep.
We saw a lot of that today where they just weren't on the same page.
So the preseason, you just can't.
It's important, even for the veterans, and they did not look sharp in the preseason.
3rd and 4 for Avery, and intercepted. This is Griffin, who will go down. Michael Griffin, who only had 1 pick last year, comes up with his first one right there. The 2-time Pro Bowler will put this in the books. 3rd Chiefs turnover today.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I've got Pat McGrath here to help me out with this one, I think that's the 3rd interception thrown in the direction of Donnie Avery. And Kevin, you know, it's interesting. When you go back and study the interception reel at the end of the season, we don't normally throw interceptions to our top target. And the top target is not in uniform today because he's suspended. I find that interesting.
Very.
I study my interception reel over the years. It's not normally to the guy that I have the history with, the confidence with, the guy that I know I can fit the ball into a tight window. 3 throws have been in the direction of Avery, and 3 have resulted in interceptions.
Big win is Ken Whisenhunt in his Tennessee Titan head coaching debut. Wins against a playoff team from a season ago on the road.
And this is a big win for Wiz and the boys, and to come in here and their first year in the program. I think they did a lot of things well. They looked really good defensively, and of course, I think they have to be most pleased with the play and the progress from their young quarterback Jake Locker. He looked really sharp today for the Titans.
So they come in here and beat Kansas City with Locker throwing 2 short touchdown passes, 4 ex-Chief Ryan Succop field goals, and the Chiefs lose a couple of defensive starters. So it's Tennessee 26-10. Coming up next, the NFL Today. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, and we're going to join James Brown in New York after this.